Dear Creator, our God, our Father Almighty, we thank you for giving us an opportunity to gather today as we open a new chapter of Philippine tourism. Dear Lord, you have blessed us with a wonderful country that is brimming with beautiful places, stories, and people. Daghang salamat sa among bugnaw ug sidlak-sidlak nga katubigan. Salamat sa among natural na kanindot sa paligid. Salamat sa among lamian nga mga pagkaon. Salamat sa among mga mabulokon ug halangdon nga mga kapistahan. Salamat sa among mga kilom-kilom ug sa among walay katapusan nga pagsubang sa adlaw. Salamat sa paghatag kanamo og mga rason aron ipakita among maahindot nga mga ngisi. Ngayong araw, mahal naming Panginoon, nagsama-sama kami upang bigyan ng mundo ng pagkakataon na mas makilala pa ang bansang tinatawag naming tahanan. Dalangin ka namin, gabayan ninyo kaming maipakita sa kanila kung ano ang aming nakikita. Maiparamdam kung ano ang aming darama at maiparhanas ang mga bagay na minamahal namin mula sa lahat ng aming mga islang kayo rin ang nagkaroon. Naway biyayaan ninyo kami ng pagkakaisa sa aming pagtungo sa panibagong kabanata kasama ang lahat ng stakeholders ng turismo ng Pilipinas. Amen.
Please remain standing as we take a moment of silence to honor the memory of our fellow divers, fishers, and seafarers whose lives were lost at sea. May they find eternal peace in the loving embrace of the Almighty. Thank you. You may now be seated. Once again, good afternoon, distinguished guests, divers, and friends who care for ocean exploration and conservation. We are gathered here at Park Inn by Radisson Davao for the first Davao Dive Summit organized by the Department of Tourism Region 11 with the theme Beyond the Surface, Dive Safety and Sustainable Exploration in Davao. We deeply appreciate the time and the effort you spent to join us, and we assure you of great value and the opportunity to meet friends and titans in the industry. Today, we are privileged to be joined by some of the most instrumental voices of the diving industry, not just in the region, but in the country. Allow me to acknowledge some of our most important guests today. Of course, beginning with the Regional Director of the Department of Tourism Region 11, RD Tanya Rabatan. We are also joined by the Executive Director of the Philippine Commission on Sports Scuba Diving, Mr. Marco Angelo Ancheta. We also have the Deputy Executive Director of Philippines on Sport Scuba Diving, Glories Glenn Do. Thank you for joining us, President of Davao Oriental State University, Dr. Roy Ponce. From the Southern Philippines Medical Center, Dr. Jeffrey Ramos. From the Southern Philippines Medical Center, Dr. Emmanuel Olmoguez. From the Philippine Commission on Sports Scuba Diving and Carabao Dive Center, Dr. Alfred Medina. He's got some fans. From the Philippine Coast Guard, Lieutenant Commander Mark Anthony Tolentino. From Dan World, Romir Aglugub. From SSI Philippines, Gordos Mateo Gohunko. From DOT Office of Product Development, Rowena Sorioso. From the DOT Office of Product Development, Katrina Louise Cruz. Consultant to the Mayor on Tourism and Investment from the Island Garden City of Samal, Noel Dakiwag. We are also joined by the Executive Assistant to the Mayor of the LGU of the Governor Generoso of Davao Oriental, Ray Canarias. We are also joined by our friends and representatives from the LGUs, Municipality of Santa Maria, Davao Occidental, Municipality of Baganga, Davao Oriental, Municipality of Governor Generoso. Palakpakan po natin sila. We are also joined by our friends and representatives from the BARM, Island Garden City of Samal, City of Mati, and of course, Province of Davao Occidental, City of Tigos, and Municipality of Mabini LGUs. A round of applause for them, please. We'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Adrian Almonte, Tourism Officer Designate of the Province of Davao del Norte. Palakpakan, maraming salamat. We are also joined by our participants from the Dive Crew Island Tours. Thank you for joining us. Coastal Divers, Carabao Dive Center. Thank you also for joining us. We have our friends from Davao Ocean Divers, Sawom Davao Oriental, Padayon Free Diving, Glide Divers Hub, Davao Gulf Divers, Ocean Blue X, Scubaqua Dive Center. Maraming salamat for joining us. Flow Academy, Santos Ciudad Tour Services and Dive Center. Ay, malakas ang palakpakan. We are also joined by our friends and representatives from DNR Region 11. Thank you for being here with us. Also, our friends from the Glide Free Diving Diving Shop. Maraming salamat, Coron Club Paradise Divers. Thank you for joining us. We've also got friends and representatives from the City Government of Tagum. Maraming salamat sa inyong pag-anhi. Blackstone Free Diving. Palakpakan din natin, Ecolab Philippines Incorporated. Davao Reef Divers Club Incorporated. Jed Real Estate, maraming salamat sa inyong suporta. We've also got friends from SSI, Scuba Dive Center, Paddle and Dive Adventure, Davao Free Diving by Glide, and Fin Dive. Marami pa tayong mga participants and we'd like to acknowledge you all because we are here to come together as a community. Thank you also for joining us, Aqua Adventure Rentals, Duka Dive and Aqua Sport. We also are joined by Thea Core, Davao Outdoor Tours and Adventure, Aviata Premier and Tours Incorporated, SSIO PEO, and of course we also have South Shore Divers, and last but not the least, Iho Resorts Corporation. Can we give everybody a round of applause? I am sure everyone is here because everyone wants to learn a lot and of course to be updated with what's going on in the diving industry here in the Davao region. For those of us here who came from different places and different regions, daghang salamat for coming, for supporting, and for of course contributing your insights because mamaya, as you know, we have a lot of thoughts planned for you. This is for you not only to gain value but also in case you have insights that you want to share, the floor will be open for your insights as well. Are you ready for the first ever Davao Dive Summit? Yes! I am loving the energy because syempre maraming salamat sa Park Inn who is our partner for today for providing you with really good food. Masarap po ba ang pagkain nila? Yes, the food is good, no? And of course, if the food is still available outside, hindi kayo nakarating ng maaga, you can still, dip out and go and get some food to make sure that you are alive, alert, and enthusiastic for our session today. Of course, coffee is flowing as well dahil alam natin, this is a wonderful time, no? To just chill, relax, and learn from our fellow divers or fellow friends in the marine life exploration and conservation industry. So, for those of you who are here, thank you so much for wearing the t-shirt nga pala, ano? Can you see the details? What are the details that we have on the shirt? Ano po ang nakasabi sa t-shirt ninyo? So, you might hurt yourselves looking at it. So, yung katabi nyo po ang tingnan ninyo. Ano po ang nakasulat? Sige nga, magbasahan po tayo ng t-shirt. So, what does it say, sir? Okay. Sir, good morning, maayong buntag, mabuhay ug madaya. What have you found that the shirt says?
Explore the blue, protect it too.
And do you think this is very apt for our gathering today? Yes, indeed it is. Ug unsa po'y nakabutang sa atong likod, sir? What can you see? Dive Davao Summit. And we are so thankful that you are all with us here today. So we want to explore the blue and protect it too. I know you are excited to learn from our speakers this afternoon. And of course, we will begin by learning about the updates of Davao Dive. Now, thank you everyone for joining us as we make waves in the world of diving together. Now, to officially welcome you all and to give the Davao Dive update, please welcome the Regional Director of the Department of Tourism, Region 11, Tanya Rabata.
Thank you very much, Kai. Magandang hapon po, maayong hapon, mabuhay, madayaw, and welcome to the Davao Dive Summit 2026. We are so honored to gather the region's passionate community of divers, instructors, and conservation advocates, united by our love for what lies beneath our waters. This summit is more than a meeting of minds. It is a space to deepen our commitment to safety and the protection of our marine ecosystem. As we engage in meaningful conversations on sustainable tourism and reef conservation, may we continue to learn from one another. Davao's underwater world is rich, vibrant, and full of life, and when we look at the waters of Davao Region, we don't just see a resource, we see a world of potential in our reefs, in our coastlines, and in our communities, and in every single person in this room today. The Department of Tourism 11 has been on a mission, not only centered on promoting dive, but to build a sustainable ecosystem. Diving is not just an activity, it is an industry, a livelihood, and a responsibility that we share. Today, I want to walk you through our journey, how far we've come, and more importantly, where we are going together. So while Davao's diving industry is not new, it has been built on and nurtured over many years by our pioneers, practitioners, and communities who recognized early on the richness of our marine resources. But our journey truly accelerated in 2021. We made a conscious effort to reinvigorate the industry, building on what was already there, strengthening partnerships, and renewing our commitment for dive tourism in Davao. So since then, we have continued to move forward with greater purpose and collaboration. We started with something very simple, but very important. And these are the dive validations. And we thank the team of divers from the national agency, from the Philippine Coast Guard and the LGUs who supported us in this mission. These are the dive validations. Before we could promote anything, we needed to understand what we had. We mapped out our dive sites across the region, what is thriving, what needs protection, and what can be developed responsibly. But we quickly realized something. It's not just about the sites, it's about the people. So alongside the validation, we invested heavily in dive trainings. From dive masters to boat operators, from safety protocols to environmental awareness, we made sure that our human capital grows at the same level as our natural assets. Because at the end of the day, even the most beautiful reef cannot deliver a good experience without capable, responsible people behind it. And from there, momentum built. We saw it in the energy of the Samal Dive Festivals, where communities, divers, and stakeholders came together, not just to celebrate, but to showcase what Samal can offer. We saw it in discovery like Bay Deep in Mati, which reminded us that Davao still holds hidden gems waiting to be responsibly introduced to the world. And we saw it in scale with the Davao Dive Expo, which created a platform not just for promotion, but for partnership, education, and industry alignment. These are not just events, they are proofs of concept. They show us that when we invest in diving, people respond. Markets respond, and opportunities grow. But we didn't stop locally. We brought Davao to the global stage, from the FIDEX here in the Philippines, and to DIMA in the United States, to the Philippine Tourism Dialogue, Go Diving in Sydney, Australia, to TDEX in Bangkok. Kahit marami po sa nakausap namin doon, hindi pa kilala ang Davao at hindi pa nakapunta. We told the story of Davao to the world. Then we launched the Davao Adventure Challenge, where diving is one of the featured part of the challenges. And it is a program that centers on our communities and have gained the attention of our private partners such as airlines, hotels, malls, and many more. Of course, our dive shops. All of these tells us one thing, that we are no longer starting, we are building. But milestones are just markers. The real work is what happens next. If we want to truly establish Dive Davao and its circuit, where visitors don't just come but stay longer and explore more, we must stand on 3 pillars. First, and number 1, will always be safety. We need to harmonize our standards across the region. Right now, practices vary from one destination to another. But for a tourist, Davao is just one destination. So our systems must feel seamless. When safety standards are clear and consistently enforced, operators face less risk, tourists feel more confident, and the entire industry becomes stronger. Because a safe destination is a successful destination. Number 2, sustainability. We are part of the blue economy. Our growth depends on the health of our marine resources. If we protect our reefs, we protect our future. If we don't, we lose everything. So, sustainability is non-negotiable. This means stronger marine protection, responsible tourism practices, and real accountability from all of us. And the third is inclusivity. Diving is not just for the divers, it is for the boatmen who bring guests safely to the sites. It is for the local guides who tell the story of the place. It is for the barangays who host and protect these areas. When communities benefit, they participate. When they participate, they protect. And when they protect, the industry thrives. This is how we create a system that is not only successful but sustainable in the long term. This is our future. Dive Davao is more than a concept. It is a map of our shared success. It connects our destinations from Samal to Mati to Governor Generoso and beyond into one seamless, compelling experience. But a circuit is only as strong as its connections. And those connections are not roads or routes. They are partnerships, they are commitments, they are trust. So today we are asking each LGU, each operator, each stakeholder in this room to commit to uphold to safety standards, to protect our marine resources, to commit to work together, not as an individual destination, but as one Davao region. Because when we move as one, we become stronger and more competitive. We become more visible to the world and more impactful to our communities. So as we come to a close, let me leave you with this thought that our marine resources is vast, rich, and full of life, but while our waters connect us, sometimes our efforts remain divided. And that is something we have the power to change because the future of diving in Davao will not be defined by how beautiful our reefs are. It will be defined by how well we work together. So today, I'm inviting each one of you, not just as stakeholders, but as partners in this mission, to help build a dive industry that is safe by choice, where standards are not only followed out of obligation, but out of commitment to excellence, sustainable by design, where every decision we make considers not just today's gains, but tomorrow's resources, and inclusive by heart, where every community, every boatman, every guide, every coastal family feels that they are part of this growth and benefit from it. Because when safety is consistent, tourists trust us. And when sustainability is real, our destinations endure. And when inclusivity is present, our communities protect what we are building. This is how we hope to move forward, and this is the future we envision for Dive Davao. Maraming salamat po, daghang salamat.
Thank you so much, RD Tanya Rabatan. Indeed, it is very important to commit so that we can create a more powerful impact. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to acknowledge the presence of the Davao City Tourism Officer, Willenito Tormes Jr. Maraming salamat, sir, for joining us this afternoon. And at this segment, we are honored to introduce a video message of support from the City Mayor of the Island Garden City of Samal, Honorable Lemuel Toto Reyes, whose leadership champions sustainable tourism, environmental stewardship, and inclusive community growth. As a gateway to some of the region's most vibrant marine ecosystems, Samal continues to lead in responsible dive tourism, preserving its natural treasures while creating opportunities for its people. Now, his support for the Davao Dive Summit reflects a shared commitment to protecting our waters and promoting a thriving, sustainable future for marine tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the message of the City Mayor of the Island Garden City of Samal, Honorable Lemuel Toto Reyes.
Mabuhay o madyaw. To all our divers, partners, and ocean advocates, welcome to Dive Davao Summit 2026. Sa atong mga bisita o kauban, daghang salamat sa inyong presensya o sa inyong gugma sa atong kadagatan. Ang dagat dili lang atong destinasyon, kini atong kinabuhi, atong kaugmaon o atong responsibilidad. The ocean is not just a place we explore. It is a legacy we protect. Today, we are not only divers, we are stewards of life beneath the surface. Bisan unsa pa kalalom sa atong pagsalom, mas lalong paunta ang atong commitment sa pagpadalipod sa kinaiyahan. Kita ang tinuod nga bantay sa dagat. Together, let us dive with purpose, protect with passion, and lead with responsibility. From Sambal to the world, let this be our message. Protect what we love and love what we protect. May the message of Dive Davao Summit 2026 guide our shared responsibility for marine conservation. Daghang salamat, padayon ta, Island Garden City of Saman.
Daghang salamat, Honorable Lemuel Reyes. Up next, we have a message of support from the Municipal Mayor of the Municipality of Governor Generoso, Honorable Juanito Hinojales, whose leadership reflects a deep commitment to community-driven coastal development. With its rich waters and strong fishing heritage, Governor Generoso plays a vital role in sustaining marine life and the livelihoods connected to it. His support for the Davao Dive Summit highlights the importance of empowering coastal communities while working together to protect and preserve our seas. Now, his message will be shared by his representative, Executive Assistant of the LG of Governor Generoso, Davao Oriental, Mr. Ray Canarias. Palakpakan po natin.
Mabuhay Madayaw. Maayong hapon sa atong tanan. Our beloved mayor would love to be here, but he has an equally important engagement. I hope he can catch by later this afternoon. But with that, he asked me to deliver his message for everyone. Warm greetings to all participants, organizers, partners, advocates gathered for the 2026 Davao Dive Summit. On behalf of our municipality, I extend my full support for these important gatherings of leaders, experts, and enthusiasts dedicated to the preservation and sustainable enjoyment of our marine resources. Your commitment to advancing responsible diving, marine conservation, and ecotourism is both timely and deeply commendable. Our oceans are among our most valuable natural assets, providing livelihood, protecting biodiversity, and sustaining communities. Events like this summit play a crucial role in raising awareness, sharing knowledge, and fostering collaborations among stakeholders who all share a common vision to protect and nurture our underwater ecosystems for future generations. As a local government, we recognize the importance of balancing tourism growth with environmental stewardship. We stand with you in promoting sustainable practices, supporting conservation initiatives, and ensuring that our marine environments remain vibrant and resilient. May this summit inspire meaningful discussions, innovative solutions, and stronger partnerships. Together, let us continue to dive deeper, not only into our waters, but into our shared responsibility to care for them. We wish you a successful and impactful summit. Daghang salamat, and once again, mabuhay Madayaw.
Daghang salamat, Mr. Canarias. Please stay on stage as we will have a photo opportunity. We'd like to request back on stage our Tanya Rabatan. Please allow and indulge us in immortalizing this powerful coming together with a photo. And of course, we would also like to thank Mayors Reyes and Hinojales for their messages of support. We would also like to request our speakers for this afternoon to join RD Tanya and Mr. Canarias on stage. Ayan, maraming salamat po. So these will be our speakers for this afternoon's engagement. And then we will have a photo with the entire audience. So we'd like to request our VIPs back down on, back to their seats, no? And then our audience members, please make sure to perk up and smile. Our photographer will be on stage para makita po tayong lahat. For those of you who are at the back and you want to be seen, please feel free to stand up or come closer. That is entirely up to you. Yes, kitang-kita po kayo dyan. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagtayo, di ba? Alright, so make sure to smile. O, di ba? Para makita kayo. Perk up, straighten your backs and smile. Lakihan po natin ang ating mga ngiti. We are here together for the Davao Dive Summit 2026. Thank you so much for joining us and for this very historical gathering and many learning sessions. Before we continue, let's warm the room up. Can you please give yourselves a warm round of applause for being here? As you can see, our room is packed with our friends from the diving community. So I hope by the end of our session today, you guys can make more friends, more connections, and of course, exchange as many business cards as possible. And now, ladies and gentlemen, what we have come together for today are the learning sessions. To guide us through the critical standards that keep our diving community safe and globally competitive, we are honored to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Marco Angelo D. Ancheta, the Executive Director of the Philippine Commission on Sports Scuba Diving. With the continued growth of dive tourism in the Philippines, the need for clear regulations, updated safety protocols, and strong industry compliance has never been more important. Today, he will share key insights on dive safety and standards in the Philippines, updates and industry compliance, helping shape a more secure and responsible future for the diving industry. Palakpakan po natin Mr. Marco Angelo Ancheta, Executive Director of the Philippine Commission on Sports Scuba Diving.
Mabuhay. Love Davao. To our distinguished guests, dive tourism stakeholders, our partners, madayaw na hapon sa tanan. And of course, to the woman behind it all, our Tanya, I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank you for your inspiring initiatives in championing dive tourism in Davao. Indeed, it's good to be back in Davao. Today's summit is not only a success, but a meaningful one. It created connections, sparked conversations, and reminded all of us of why we do what we do. As we celebrate Women's Month, it feels even more fitting to recognize you, RD, as well as all the women in this room. May I request all the women to please stand up? This month, we are celebrating Women's Month. So happy Women's Month to all of us. Women's Month. I will now proceed with my talk. We all know that the Philippines is the world's leading dive destination. It's Asia's leading dive destination. We are blessed with 7,600 plus islands and some of the richest marine biodiversity in the planet. We are all proud. But this recognition comes with an obligation. We must ensure its sustainability. But the question is, how do we ensure its sustainability? The PCSSD developed what we call the dive model. The dive model is a holistic approach to sustainable dive tourism. What does it mean? At the center of everything we do is the environment. Without an environment, there is no dive tourism. But there are three pillars that work hand in hand in ensuring that the environment is protected. We have the divers. Divers, industry, community, and the environment. Next one. The divers. With these three pillars, what connects them all and brings them all to work together is what we call the standards. Or should we say, regulation. But what are standards? Some say that safety is paramount, but safety alone is no longer enough. We are adopting quality, health and safety, and environment. These three standards are important in sustaining our environment. The PCSSD adopts a whole-of-nation approach to ensure the implementation of quality, health and safety, and environmental standards, and compliances with all existing laws and rules and regulations. So what does QHSE mean? Quality. Quality means consistency and professionalism in every aspect of service, from training and dive planning to equipment and maintenance, customer experience. It's all about doing things right every time. Health and safety. This refers to the protection of life. The divers, the instructors, your crew, all personnel involved. This includes proper risk assessments, emergency preparedness, incident reporting, and strict adherence to standards. And of course, the environment. The environment refers to our responsibility to protect every ecosystem that sustains this industry. Without healthy reefs, there is really no diving industry. Our call to action. Moving forward, the PCSSD is taking steps to QHSE in diving standards. These include strengthening compliance monitoring, introducing more structured documentation systems, aligning with international best practices, supporting the development of standardized skills and competencies from our agencies, and collaborating with the stakeholders in developing sustainable dive destinations. Let me be clear. No system, no matter how well designed, will succeed without commitment from all stakeholders. We are all stakeholders. Everyone who has a vested interest in this industry is a stakeholder. We are included. So, to our dive operators, adopting QHSE is not a burden. It is an investment. It ensures your credibility, protects your clients, and strengthens your business in the long term. To the dive professionals, you are the carriers of this culture. Your discipline, attention to detail, and commitment to standards ensures the safety of every dive. To our divers, demand quality, health and safety, and environment. Choose operators who prioritize QHSE. To our partners in government and the industry, we must work together to ensure that standards are not only established but enforced consistently. It is commitment to excellence, to responsibility, and to sustainability. The future of diving in the Philippines depends not on the beauty of our waters, but on the standards we uphold beneath the surface. Together, let us build a sustainable and resilient diving industry where quality is consistent, health and safety is uncompromised, and the environment is protected. Thank you. Maraming salamat po. Love the Philippines. Love Davao.
Thank you so much. Executive Director Marco Angelo Ancheta of the Philippine Commission on Sports Scuba Diving. Now, our next speaker represents an institution at the forefront of protecting our marine environment. Through its marine environmental protection efforts, the PCG plays a vital role in safeguarding our waters, ensuring that our coastlines, ecosystems, and communities are protected for generations to come. Today, he will share insights on the Philippine Coast Guard's marine environment conservation efforts and programs, highlighting the initiatives that support the preservation and sustainability of our seas. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Lieutenant Commander Anthony B. Tolentino of the Philippine Coast Guard.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the MC said, I'm Lieutenant Mark Anthony B. Tolentino. I'm the Chief of Staff of Coast Guard District Southeastern Mindanao, as well as the Station Commander of Coast Guard Station Davao. So, I will discussing about the securing the seas or the Philippine Coast Guard role in the marine conservation. The ocean is more than vast body of water. It is a lifeline. It feeds millions, regulates climates, supports biodiversity, and sustains economies. For an archipelagic nation like the Philippines, the seas is not just a resource, it is our identity. However, our ocean today faces growing threats: marine pollution, illegal fishing, habitat destruction, and the impact of climate change. These challenges demand not only awareness, but decisive action. At the forefront of this mission is the Philippine Coast Guard, an institution committed not only to ensuring maritime safety and security, but also protecting and preserving our marine environment. The Philippine Coast Guard plays a vital role in three critical areas: the maritime safety, law enforcement and security, and the marine environmental protection. In terms of maritime safety, the Coast Guard ensures that vessels operate in accordance with established safety standards through inspection, monitoring, and emergency response. It helps prevent maritime accident and protect lives at sea. Kung nakikita po natin, yung mga Coast Guard natin, before umalis ang isang bangka or isang barko, ay chine-check po namin. Na makita namin na nagpa-follow po siya sa safety standard. In the area of law enforcement and security, the Coast Guard enforces maritime laws, safeguard nation's waters, and combats illegal activities such as smuggling, piracy, and illegal fishing. These efforts help maintain order and uphold sovereignty within our maritime domain. Equally important is the marine environmental protection, where the Coast Guard takes an active role in preventing and responding to marine pollution, including oil spill and hazardous discharges. These actions are crucial in preserving the health of our oceans. It is important to emphasize that marine conservation is not optional. It is a core mandate grounded in both national policies and international policies agreement. As a maritime nation, the Philippines is duty-bound to protect its marine resources for present and future generations. Furthermore, diving operations serve as essential tools in protecting underwater ecosystem. Through diving activities, Coast Guard personnel are able to conduct underwater inspection, retrieve hazardous materials, monitor coral reef condition, and support environmental rehabilitation effort. This operation provides direct on-site capability to safeguard marine habitats that cannot be protected from the surface alone. In line with the ICARE program of the Philippine Coast Guard, the intensified community awareness, assistance, response, and enforcement, the Philippine Coast Guard continues to uphold its duty not only to safeguard human life, but also defend the natural environment. The legal foundation of marine conservation effort in the Philippine Coast Guard is clearly established through national laws and international commitment. Under the Republic Act No. 9993, also known the Philippine Coast Guard Law of 2009, the Philippine Coast Guard is mandated to enforce laws, ensure maritime safety, and most importantly, protect marine resources and the marine environment. The legal mandate affirms that environmental protection is not merely a support function, but a primary responsibility of the Coast Guard. In addition to the national legislation, the Philippine Coast Guard also implement international conventions such as the Maritime Pollution 7378. This global agreement provides regulation aimed to prevent pollution from ships, including oil, chemicals, garbages, and other harmful substances. By enforcing the MARPOL, the Coast Guard aligned the country's maritime practices with the international environment standards. Furthermore, the Philippine Coast Guard leads critical effort in pollution control, environmental monitoring, and marine conservation through regular patrol, inspections, and coordinated response operations. It actively mitigates environmental threats and ensures compliance with environmental laws. The Marine Environmental Protection Command, or the MEPCOM, serve as the specialized environmental arms of the Philippine Coast Guard dedicated to safeguard the marine ecosystem. As a key unit, MEPCOM is tasked with addressing environmental threats in the maritime domain through the range of critical functions. Foremost among these is oil spill response and containment. MEPCOM leads rapid deployment operation to control and mitigate the oil spill. Minimize damages to marine life, coastal communities, and vital ecosystems. Their expertise ensures that environmental incidents are managed efficiently and effectively. In addition, Marine Environmental Protection Command conducts marine pollution monitoring, continuously assessing water quality and identifying potential environmental hazard. This proactive approach enables early detection and timely intervention to prevent further degradation of marine resources. Beyond surface operation, MEPCOM also undertakes underwater operation through specialized diving teams. They perform inspection of the submerged structure, vessels, and affecting areas, ensuring accurate assessment of environmental condition. They also conduct recovery operations, retrieving hazardous materials, debris, or pollutant that pose risk in marine ecosystem. Diving operations play a crucial role in advancing marine conservation efforts within the Philippine Coast Guard. The PCG divers are highly trained and equipped to perform specialized underwater tasks essential to environmental protection. One of these are the Special Operations Group of the Philippine Coast Guard, yung laging nakakasama ng DOT po natin all throughout the Philippines po. Among their priority responsibility is underwater inspection, where divers assess the condition of submerged vessel, coastal infrastructure, and marine habitat. This inspection provides accurate on-site information that cannot be obtained. Another key function is the debris removal. Marine debris, including plastics, fishing gears, and other pollutants, poses a serious threat to marine life. Through diving operation, the PCG personnel are able to directly remove this hazard, helping restore and maintain the natural balance of underwater ecosystem. But hindi po to kaya lang ng Coast Guard. So we encourage everyone po from these stakeholders. Sabi po nga ni Sir is, every one of us is a stakeholder. So, konti lang po kami sa Coast Guard. And we are dealing, I think, two-thirds of the entire earth is made of water. So lahat ng basura around sa buong mundo is umiikot lang within the water. And kung nakikita po natin, yung mga pawikan po natin, may straw, nanenet po sila because of that garbages na tinatapon din po natin. In addition, the Philippine Coast Guard divers conduct coral reef and habitat monitoring by observing and documenting the condition of coral reefs and marine biodiversity. They contribute valuable data that support conservation strategies and environmental management. Beyond this task, diving operations support broader missions such as environmental protection, ensuring that marine ecosystems are preserved and safeguarded from human-induced damage. They are also critical in disaster response, particularly in the situation involving shipwrecks, oil spill, and submarine hazard. Furthermore, diving contributes to scientific research as data gathered and underwater helps inform policies, improve conservation practices, and enhance our understanding of marine environment. One of the notable environmental initiative of the Philippine Coast Guard is the Isko Basurero program, an initiative approach to marine conservation through direct underwater action. The term Isko Basurero is a combination of the word scuba and basura, which reflect its core mission, removing waste beneath the surface of our seas. This program is carried out through strong collaboration with our various stakeholders, including the local government units or LGUs, non-government organizations, and volunteer divers. The multi-sectoral partnership highlight the maritime conservation is a shared responsibility that required collective effort. Under this initiative, a range of activities are conducted. Foremost is the underwater garbage collection, where trained divers descend into coastal waters to retrieve plastic, discarded fishing gears, and other debris that threaten marine ecosystem. Complementing this effort are the coastal cleanup activities, which address waste along shorelines and prevent it from entering the ocean. Kung makikita po natin, always, including this sa Davao Region, ang mga tao po namin is regularly nagkakandak ng coastal cleanup. Minsan po, sinasabay na po namin yung Isko Basurero. But because of the limited personnel divers namin, hopefully, nandito po yung mga divers natin. And kung meron po tayong activities or through mas marami po tayong makukuhang basura sa dagat po. Beyond its operational impact, the Isko Basurero program also promotes environmental awareness and encourages community participation. It empowers individuals and organizations to take an active role in protecting marine life and preserving our water. In terms of the coastal and underwater cleanup operation, regular coastal and underwater cleanup drives are conducted to maintain marine health and preserve biodiversity. Activities are carried out in the partnership with the private divers, local NGOs, and community organizations. The Philippine Coast Guard ensures operational safety, provide oversight, and coordinates logistics during all coast cleanup operation. The Philippine Coast Guard plays vital role in protecting our marine environment, particularly during oil spill incident. Our special trained divers are the forefront of this operation, performing critical underwater tasks that ensure both environmental protection and marine safety. The PCG divers are equipped and trained to handle leak detection, underwater inspection, and oil containment operation. A notable example of this effort is the Oriental Mindoro oil spill response, where the PCG divers successfully conducted containment operation and assisted in the removal of oil from sunken vessel tanks. Their action minimized environmental damage and demonstrated the PCG commitment to maritime safety and ecological preservation. Through this operation, the PCG ensured that our seas remain safe, navigable, and protected for the benefit of our current and future generations. The Philippine Coast Guard actively contribute to marine research, environmental monitoring through strategic collaboration with academic government institutions, including the University of the Philippines and Department of Environmental and Natural Resources. Here in Davao, I think meron po kaming partner na schools. One of those are the Ateneo na nagkakandak ng monitoring ng dagat natin. Isa sa project nila is nag-release sila ng mga AIS sa river. And minonitor nila kung saan papunta yung AIS na yon. And from the river, papunta siya sa dagat. And yung AIS na pinakamalayo is umabot po sa Balot Island. So nag-deploy sila ng AIS, pinalutang nila. After several days, hinanap nila, doon natatrack po siya. And ang pinakamalayo is umabot po sa Balot Island. Ibig sabihin, yung tinatapon natin from Davao City is nakakaabot po yung basura sa Balot Island. This partnership enabled the range of scientific conservation focused activities such as coral reef assessment, biodiversity studies, and mapping marine habitats. By conducting these activities, the PCG support long-term conservation planning, ensuring that our coastal and marine resources are protected for future generation while strengthening the country's environmental stewardship. Diving operations conducted by the Philippine Coast Guard is critical role in safeguarding the coral reefs and marine habitat through this operation. PCG divers are able to identify damaged reef, support reef rehabilitation, protecting marine protected areas. Hopefully po, last time, I talked with my SOG for those stakeholders na nagkakandak po ng coral reef planting or nagde-develop po sila ng artificial coral reef. I have here the Coast Guard Special Operations Group at the back na to coordinate those stakeholders na nagpa-plant po ng coral leaf planting na mag-join po, and willing po kami mag-join. And when I am in Bicol, nung Coast Guard po kasi ako sa Bicol, yung Special Operations Group ng Bicol is sila po talaga ang nag-organize, sila po ang nag-develop. Through stakeholders, nagawa po sila ng artificial reef. And after 3 months, nakita po namin na yung Legazpi Gold sa Legazpi City, Albay, is tumubo ay yung coral reef. And I don't know if tuloy-tuloy po yung pagtubo ng coral reef doon ngayon. In multi-agency and community involvement, the Philippine Coast Guard recognized that protecting our marine environment requires collaboration beyond its own resources. To minimize impact, the Philippine Coast Guard actively partners with LGU, fisher folks, environmental NGOs, and other stakeholders. This partnership promote awareness, volunteerism, and sustainable practices. While the Philippine Coast Guard continue to advance marine conservation through diving operation, several challenges remains. These are limited resources and equipment, hazardous diving conditions, and increased marine pollution. Kanina nga po, nag-usap po kami ni Sir that I've been assigned also in Negros Oriental, and I've been in Silver Reef with Ma'am Ana Season. SSI din po sila. And every time na kulang po kami ng diving tanks, si Ma'am is nagpapahiram po sa amin ng diving tanks, even the equipment for conduct po kami ng mga scuba sorero program namin or to check the coral reef. So hopefully po with this pwede din po sana natin dito gawin sa Davao Region. Addressing these challenges requires combination of enhanced resources, improved safety measures, continued public engagement, and stronger interagency coordination to ensure the long-term sustainability of the Philippines' marine environment. Looking ahead, the Philippine Coast Guard is committed to enhance its role in marine conservation through strategic improvements and expanded initiative. Key focus areas include strengthening capabilities, enhancing diving skills, equipment, and operational readiness, and improving enforcement of environmental laws to prevent illegal activity that harms marine ecosystem. Expanding partnership, broadening collaboration with research institutions and government agencies for advanced scientific monitoring in supporting more community-based programs that engage local stakeholders in conservation effort. Advocating for responsible use of marine resources and ensuring long-term health and resilience of the Philippine coastal and marine ecosystem. The Ingat Yaman Dagat is an environmental protection initiative of the Philippine Coast Guard, focused on safeguarding the country's marine resources and coastal environments. It is typically organized as Task Force Ingat Yaman Dagat, which bring together the Philippine Coast Guard, local government unit, private stakeholders, volunteers, and communities to promote and implement marine conservation and protecting activities. Ingat Yaman Dagat translate roughly to a take care of the sea's wealth, reflecting the ideas that the nation water and marine resources are valuable assets that need collective care and stewardship. In conclusion, the diving operation conducted by the Philippine Coast Guard are vital in ensuring and protecting the sustainability of nations' marine ecosystems. These efforts not only help in preserving biodiversity, but also enable swift and effective response to environmental threats such as oil spill, pollution, and damaged habitats. Through strong collaboration with communities, government agencies, academic institutions, and national government organizations, coupled with continuous innovation and techniques and technology, the PCG Marine Conservation Initiative continue to evolve and improve. As we look toward the future, it is clear that safeguarding our seas is not just a duty. It is an investment in the well-being of generations to come. Truly protecting the seas is protecting the future. As you can see, the quote means that the ocean is essential for our survival. It provides food, oxygen, climate regulation, and livelihoods. Because it sustains life, taking care of it isn't optional. It is a duty we all share to ensure that the ocean remains healthy for ourselves and for the future generation. Before I end my presentation, in behalf of the Coast Guard District Southeastern Mindanao, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Department of Tourism Region 11, headed by their very gorgeous and enthusiastic Regional Director, Ma'am Tanya Rabatan, ma'am, for giving the PCG Coast Guard District Southeastern Mindanao the opportunity to share this insight on the marine conservation and the vital role of diving operation. Let us remember that the ocean gives us life. Protecting is not a choice, but a responsibility. Together, through awareness, action, and collaboration, we can ensure that our seas remain vibrant and thriving for the next generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daghang Salamat, Lieutenant Commander Mark Anthony Tolentino of the Philippine Coast Guard. Daghang Salamat. Ako personally, I learned a lot from the slides that he presented, and he shared earlier that he has teammates and representatives to help partner with each of you here who are looking to have efforts that can be helped by the PCG. Daghang Salamat. I am sure you are ready to learn even more. Now, our next speaker brings
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roy. I'm from Davao Oriental State University sa Mati City. No? My talk is on reef protection and regeneration practices. Before I became president, I became a diver first. No? My instructor is here, Ivan Lloyd, and I'm reunited with my batchmates, no, sa open water license. And I understand your passion, no? And in my experience, I also became one of the writer of the Duché of Mount Hamiguitan. We inscribed Mount Hamiguitan to UNESCO World Heritage Site. We wanted to extend the World Heritage to Pujada Bay, so we work on the most beautiful bays of the world, no? And we tentatively list Pujada Bay to UNESCO World Heritage Site. And 10 years ago, I worked closely with RD Tania in Mati City. We worked together how we will solve the solid waste problem of the city and the plastics in Pujada Bay. The good thing with being a president now is that I can push my agenda, no, with those experiences for the environment, from ridge to reef, from the mountain to the sea, and protecting the ocean with the communities. And so we are pushing for this ethos in the university. We call it Regenerative Futures, and we made a 15-year strategic plan that Dorso will become a Regenerative Futures University. It is a guiding principle. We believe that nature, communities, economy, knowledge is research, technology, digital transformation, can all thrive together in a balance. That's the principle. So we are pushing it because Dorso is in a very beautiful province. We have a UNESCO World Heritage Mountain, we have beautiful bays, and we wanted to keep it that way in the next 10 years. And so we had these core values for our regenerative futures, and I believe all of us here share with most of these things. Stewardship of life, regeneration over extraction, science with purpose, community co-creation, interconnected systems thinking, what we are talking about here, kay Sir Ancheta, that we are an ecology, equity and inclusive growth, including the poorest sectors of the community, resilience and future consciousness, integrity and accountability, innovation rooted in place, and hope in action. And we have many programs, but I'd just like to share 3 of what we are currently doing and why we are doing it. No? So one of our projects is the coral reef regeneration using 3D eco-engineered clay reef modules, technological transfer and adaptation with reefs. This is an international organization from Switzerland. And then our plastic use education and Pujada Bay as extension of Mount Hamiguitan UNESCO World Heritage Site. For scuba divers and free divers, atong ginapangita, katong mga nindot kayo nga mga dive spots. Correct? But ang divers namo sa Dorso, nagapangita mig mga bleach areas, damaged areas of the bay. So inguna na nga mong passion. Mangita mig bleach and damaged areas nga bay, and we wanted to paint the color back into these damaged areas. And so we're able to partner with Switzerland and scientists and advancement and technology, and we co-develop this reef module, no? Kaning 3D nga printed nga clay reef module. We co-created because the design is from Switzerland and the technology, and they wanted to replicate it here, but it's very expensive to get materials from Switzerland. And so our laboratory chemists, we develop our own material from our own local clay. And we also co-evolving the design. So this is like a Lego, no? We have an exhibit sa gawas. I-stack siya para murag stable siya. Thank God, after the doublet earthquake, our first pilot site stood, no? Stable siya. And then, if you can see the waves here, sa picture, this is designed nga the ocean current will percolate. And then the grooves is designed to trap the coral polyps. So the strategy of this is not coral gardening or coral planting, it's coral recruitment, ang among tawag. So we recruit the baby polyps of the corals, and we piloted it in Puhada Bay, in the degraded areas of Puhada Bay. This is the picture of our 100 square meters setup, actual picture of the setup in a degraded part, bleached part of Puhada Bay. We are hoping that in 20 to 30 years, you cannot see the clay, but it will be calcified and filled with corals. And in our assessment, in the first year, we were able to find 4,000 coral recruits. So right now, we continue the monitoring, and we are expecting about maybe 6,000 to 8,000 recruits or more. So these are actually actual photos of the baby corals growing. The eldest coral that we found is already like the palm of my hand. And I think it's bigger now because we are on our on our third year. So this is the first assessment, February 2025. The coral growth in 7 months is 157. Na-surprise ang mga partner nga scientists, and it shows that Puhada Bay is still pristine, no? Ang Puhada Bay still pristine, damage lang ang reefs. What's exciting for us is that not only corals are attracted, but a host of different invertebrates and crustaceans and fishes came to the reef. So it has become a natural ecosystem. And for our fish update, we were able to see na nag-congregate ang fish. We even found fish, mga isda sa bato nga dito sila nag-lay eggs na sa reefs, and we were excited to find our first sea anemones and Nemo, no, sa reefs. And that's really a very exciting development for us in this picture. And we can find that in our scientific observation, there's a big difference between the control area without the reef and our coral reef with the blue and the orange data of the fish biomass. So with this strategy, it's not only the corals that we are addressing, but we are actually addressing an entire habitat of a degraded area, no? So we call this an art. We bring back the colors to the ocean caused by coral bleaching. And what scientists are excited with this approach is that, di ba coral bleaching is caused by climate change, the rise in temperature of ocean water, and then nag-bleach ang corals. Now with this structure and attracting younger polyps, we are hoping that with the elevated environment and the new environment, the corals can co-evolve and adapt with the changing sea temperature. So we are excited to look at that. And we engage the community as part of the protection, no? Our philosophy is, naguba man gani ang original nga corals, what's the guarantee that the artificial reef will not be destroyed? So we are not still addressing the problem. So what we did, parallel to our program, is really engaging the communities and education. These are our partners, no? Ang Saum Davao Oriental is with us, no? Local, international partners. So we introduce plastic use education to children and communities. We develop environmental heroes kids, and we show them the results of our macro and microplastic research research project on macro and microplastics, no? So microplastics is now everywhere. It's a very hazardous to our health, no? Phthalates and BPA and furans and dioxins in plastic. Plastic will not degrade. It will just break into microscopic pieces. They go to our food, seafood, and then we ingest, and it will go to our system. So it's estimated that you already have microplastics in our system, no? So we explain to the community that we should not let plastics go into the ocean, and so we share education, and we develop environmental heroes kids in our community. In 3 communities in Puhada Bay, we collect every 15 days or 1 month collection. Una ni among collection sa plastics from the community, no? Una ni kadaghan every 15 days. And ang among game sa mga bata, they will string 1 meter of plastics and they will exchange it for school supplies, goods. Una na lang kasimple ang strategy that in our first year of implementation, we're able to collect like around mga 8 kilometers of plastics. Yung anak kalala. And we are able to stop it from going into the sea, and we call the children environmental heroes. Sa Taganilaw ni nga community, sa among pilot site, and you can see nga limpyo na ang ilahang creek, ang ilalom sa ilahang balay, because 4 meters of plastic can exchange for 1 kilo of rice. Mura silang mag-grocery, no? Una na ang ilahang ginatuhog nila, and they will exchange for goods. Sila ang magpili, no? So, ang among gibuhat kaning goods nga murag ayuda, it's in a form of ayuda. We just call it investment to education, because we will not conduct plastic exchange without educational inputs. So, we teach, no? Personally, we teach student volunteers, our partners nga mga divers ito, we teach the community, and we're able to see the results. We pitched this project to Times Higher Education Asia, and this April 22, we will go to Hong Kong because we are among the 8 finalists in the 500 entries, no? This is our project, macro and microplastics pollution in marine ecosystems and fisheries in southeastern Mindanao, Philippines. We also track the flow of plastic. We developed buoys. We studied macro and microplastics. But the most important thing is we really reach out to communities. Right now, our plastic education program has been replicated to at least 6 sites in Davao Oriental. It's a very simple concept. You can do it, you can copy it. No problem with us. It's just a string of wire, ituhog sa mga bata, and then they just exchange it for goods, provided that the activity will have a lecture. Environmental lecture. Dili pod lecture nga taas about environment. We call it micro lectures. No? Because we wanted to raise a cohort of children in Davao Oriental conscious about plastic. So that's a very simple goal. And lastly, our research was compiled and we're able to nominate first Pujada Bay to the world's most beautiful bays, no? And then we are collating documents and researches, and then we're able to successfully inscribe tentatively to UNESCO World Heritage Site our Pujada Bay. So these are the things that we are actively doing in Dorso, no? So we have our 3D artificial reefs on degraded areas. We have community plastic education, and we are working to bring the international stakeholders to Pujada Bay. Mas gwapo mangudtong daghan ang stakeholders, local and international, because we will be very strong in protecting our environment. This is our 3D printing facility in Davao Oriental State University, no? And right now we have contracted our international partner. They bought around 2,000 modules of bricks. So siguro that can regenerate mga tulo ka 100 square meters nga degraded reef areas. So I'm here also to ask you to promote us, no, with this project. Mga corporate social responsibility. You want private owners of resorts, so we can partner with this, no? Katong degraded areas lang. And so our reef protection, I'm glad that our Coast Guard are really strong in the protection. We are on the regeneration practices. So the strongest part now of Dorso is that we have this regenerative futures branding, no? Because of our regenerative futures branding, that's why we attracted international partners like reefs. So we do science and technology research, but we wanted it to reach to communities, community engagement and protection, partnerships, local and global. So we love this partnership of diverse in the region and from the national. And then what's really good is to find visible regeneration, no? If you happen to dive in Pujada Bay, you can drop by our pilot sites to check. The challenge that we are facing now in our reefs, di ba, nagtubo naman ng mga corals, there's really a problem in nutrients because of pollution, no? Mga nutrients from fish pan, from agriculture, nagtaas ang nutrients that algae competes with the growth of the corals. So we need volunteers nga paypayan gud ang algae para na ay chance ang coral nga mo-grow. Our site in Siquijor, dili kayo daghan og algae because Siquijor is mag-open man na siya diha, no? Ang flow niya sa Visayas. But in the bay nga sirado, the nutrients going into the bay is really something nga naga-change sa chemistry sa ocean. So we are continuing with our study. Right now, we are trying to innovate interlocking receptacles for seagrass. So we wanted to do seagrass farming nga taas siya para mulabaw siya sa siltation. Dili siya matabunan, no? So we are experimenting on these things. So these are our partners, no? So we have the Reefs, DNR, the Province of Davao Oriental, City of Mati, and then we have from Saum, Governor Generoso, the Freemasons, our partner from Freemasons Mati, our partner from the very beginning of the conceptualization. Silang nagtabang sa mga sourcing sa clay, and then our Happy Fish Kids Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. Maayong hapon.
Daghang salamat, Dr. Roy Ponce, University President of the Davao Oriental State University. And of course, thank you to all our speakers for sharing their insights and expertise. At this point, we open the floor to our audience for questions, clarifications, and discussions. Joining us in this open forum, I would like to request once again the presence of our speakers. Please join me here again on stage, Executive Director Marco Angelo Ancheta of the Philippine Commission on Sports Scuba Diving. Please join me here again, Lieutenant Commander Mark Anthony B. Tolentino of the Philippine Coast Guard. And of course, Dr. Roy Ponce, University President of Davao Oriental State University. Ato silang pakpakan usab. You may now be seated. The microphones are behind you po. Nasa likod niyo po ang microphone ninyo. And I'm sure our members from the audience have questions. Now is the time to ask. We have one. We have a question. Meron po ba? Okay, we have microphones in the audience. Please raise your hands so that our teammates can approach you. And if you have a question, please introduce yourself first, your affiliation, and then who you are directing your question to. Or kung hindi man siya question, baka gusto niyo pong magdagdag sa naging mga isinabi ng ating mga guest speaker today. Ako personally, I find it very interesting yung pong mga programs ninyo, especially involving the little children, right? Because for those of us who are adults, medyo gahi na tag-ulo. It's the children who have to learn it effortlessly to make it part of their lives more seamlessly that are the future who will really uphold protecting the marine life even better than we will ever be capable of. Kay kita, pugsun pa man nato, for them, it should come naturally, especially if you are starting early. Now, do we have any questions or additional insights from our friends in the audience? We are gathering here today as a community. We are peers in this discussion. Unta, we will hear your voices. Kung dili kay magduol jud ko ninyo, I will approach you. Okay? Or maybe our guest speakers have friends in the audience they would like to hear from. Oh, we have one here. May nagtaas po ng kamay. Isang magandang dilag. RD?
Thank you kay Doc Roy. Yung sa plastics, because I think naikwento mo yan before, I was really, thank you for doing that. And then, meron na bang parang replication to other barangays? And the next one would be, how do you sustain that? Because you have yung mga bigas, the school supplies. Is that partnership with LGU? Who's funding po the program?
Thank you very much. The plastic education has been replicated to, I think, 6 sites. So they go to our site to benchmark. The funding source of the goods that we buy, number one is crowdsourcing. Secondly, from the university and from our partners. No? So we also got supplies from DNR, from the City Enro, and other organizations. So it's really active engagement with these organizations. It's a very low-cost program. Kay, we visit the area once or twice a month, and it's less than 10,000 pesos, actually. And very efficient because ang groceries, dili man siya mahurot. It's what they exchange. Very efficient. Dili siya ipanghatag. It's effort to goods. But we just consider that as investment to education. So we are not considering it as dole out, no? We collect donations and from organizations, but it's an investment that we educate the children. So hindi pwedeng mag-activity na walang lecture. That's the mandate of the program. If walang lecture, forget it. You are just giving dole outs, no? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we have a follow-up here.
Hello. Okay. Thank you for that very exciting research work. My question is, since we are into environmental conservation, protection, I'm not familiar with natural resources. Are we rich or are we not damaging the earth because we mine, we get the clay for the material? Thank you.
Yes, we anticipated that question from the clay source, no? If we extract clay, we made sure that the biodiversity is restored. Right now, we extracted clay from old pottery sites and also from roads opened, no? In Davao Oriental, may mga clay. We just have to screen it from heavy metals. We have a very good university research complex that we can screen the clay. So we made sure that the clay that we process are free from heavy metals. So we are strict on those parameters. And it's not really voluminous because the design is hollow. So 1 cubic meter can already produce like 300 bricks. Hollow man ang iyahang design. Dili man siya solid blocks. So like a truckload of clay can actually already produce 5,000 bricks. So the output is huge and the extraction is minimal.
Doc, tama po ba you have display outside nung...
Yes,
Tama
we have
po?
the
Yes.
exhibit outside and we have our technical people there that can explain to you, no, in details if you have questions.
Thank you so much. Do we have follow-up questions regarding this topic? Yung clay bricks ba natin? The program for the children? Baka yung iba sa inyo ay gusto maging future volunteers, no? For these educational meets nila. Sir, magpakilala po muna tayo. Maraming salamat.
Okay, maayong hapon. I'm Vince Molejón. I belong to different organizations, but for this one, since I registered using the email address of Football for Humanity, so I represent the Football for Humanity. Sir, sa Coast Guard lang. Now, maybe this could be correlated to other speakers. My attention was caught up about the garbage that you track na from somewhere umabot hanggang ilang kilometro. Yung question ko po is about the waste management system ng every LGU. Okay, meron po tayong, I understand na since 90s, meron po tayong batas or public act about the waste segregation and then adopted by the LGUs. Pero sir, gaano po ba ka-effective ito? Kasi na-observe ko lang until today na ang collection of garbage in different cities, although may mandate na i-segregate, pero nagsisegregate kami sa bahay, but the collecting garbage trucks, hinahalo pa rin. Diba? And then doon sa kung saan idadump, nakahalo-halo pa rin. So, sa tingin mo, useful yung ginagawa natin? Or kasi mahirap eh, di ba? Na nagsisegregate tayo, then pag kukolek, iisahin lang, then pagdating doon, magsisegregate uli. So ano bang mekanismo dyan na dapat gagawin natin para at least naman, para sa ibang bansa ba nang huhugasan pa kayong bote at plastics, di ba? Kumikita pa, like Australia, tatapon ka ng plastic sa ano, kikita ka pa ng how many cents per bottle. So sir, in your own opinion, and maybe others can also give an opinion on that.
Sir, thank you very much for that question, sir. But meron pang taga-sendro dito. That is a difficult na sa part namin sa Coast Guard. But sinabi ko kanina, yung environmental problem natin is everyone's problem. So, bawat isa sa atin is may responsibilidad. So with the question po dun sa kung effective effective yung ginagawa natin ng solid waste management natin, kung makikita po natin sa kapaligiran natin, parang mas tumataas po, mas lumalala. So, ayoko pong magsabi ng na nakakaano, but I will remain on my answer po na ang responsibilidad po ng lahat ang problema natin sa basura. Even ako po, gumagamit ako ng plastics. So, with regards sa dumping po, do tinatapon natin sa tama, and sa Coast Guard po kasi hindi naman kami ang magtatapong sa dumping area. So hindi ko po masasagot on that part. But the Coast Guard reaffirm its commitment na ma-sustain po natin yung sa karagatan natin. So every time po ang Coast Guard po ay gumagawa po ng coastal cleanup. Like ngayon po sa part po ng Coast Guard dito sa CGS Davao, we have OGT from the University of Mindanao, and regular po namin ginagawa within Davao City yung coastal cleanup namin. So with regards po naman sa diving, sa Isko Basurero program, hopefully maging regular po to with sa tulong po ng stakeholders. So doon po sa tanong mo, sir, patulong po ako sa iba, lalong-lalo na po kung sino po, and the same po tayo is my concern po on that problem po. Thank you po.
We understand, no, the response. Thank you so much. Now, any of our panelists would like to share their insights?
Even po sa PCSSD, it's included in our mandate yung marine conservation. Tama rin po yung sabi ni Commander na the responsibility in protecting our environment is everyone's responsibility. We all live on Earth, kaya we share the responsibility. Sana po, magkaroon po ng ownership ng responsibility dun sa source. Dun po sa issue na yung basura ay hindi nakokolekta ng tama or napupunta sa iba. We have to start with the source. Sino po yung nagtatapon ng basura? And if merong mga ordinances or regulations that segregates trash, sana po mas ma-implement ng maayos para po mas maganda rin po ang outcome ng program na yan. Thank you po.
Thank you. Doc?
Can I share a little thought? Your observation is very valid, and the same question we had with Ma'am Tanya when we were together in Mati in solving the solid waste management. Filipinos are very good with policies and laws, the best in the world. But when it comes to implementation, poorest tayo, no? So in implementation, my analysis there is it's both systems and behavior. Systems because our LGUs has not really established functional systems and infrastructure of collection. That's really a problem, no? And it includes scale. Scale, dagan ba, no? So for example, 26 barangays, only 3 trucks. It cannot cope with the scale. System of segregation, tamo ito yung ingon, pag abot sa Tambakan, combine. In Mati City, we have a sanitary landfill. We are not trying to separate the plastics. Actually, plastic recycling really failed. Pag mag-recycle only a small portion of the waste can be recycled. At the university, I'm now talking to our chemists how we can safely pack muna plastics and store it until such time that we know what to do with it. Because recycling cannot cope. And the problem is behavior. That's why we started with plastic use education with kids. Because we wanted a new cohort of population that's environmentally conscious, no? So, I guess yun, no? Implementation tayo nagka-problema. And then, systems, infrastructure, and solving with the scale. No, I hope we can get good leaders to be able to implement that. It's still really about political will. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, that was a good conversation no, regarding our systems and our behaviors. We have a question. Sir, magpakilala po muna tayo. Maraming salamat.
Mabuhay and Madayaw. I'm Jong Chavez, free diver and scuba diver. This question is whether kung kinsa ang magtubag. But we are currently in an energy crisis. So may I know if what way can we on what way can we sustain our diving industry as well as marine protection programs? Thank you.
It's good for the environment. No burning of fossil fuel means less carbon dioxide. Have you seen the viral in Facebook now, like people using plastic pyrolysis and converting it to fuel and liquefied gas? It's very dangerous because plastic is packed with toxins, no? Very carcinogenic. And if you do it DIY, there's really no guarantee of safety. This is one of the effects of the war, no? If I imagine fossil fuel, crude oil has done so much problem in our way of living because it fueled industrialization, we became wealthy, but with wealth came powers to rule about energy. Secondly, the burning of the fossil fuel impacted our environment through global warming. And then thirdly, and very slowly right now, it's invading our food systems through macro and micro plastics, no? We should go back to safe and sustainable practices. Free diving is good. And how do we load oxygen to our tanks, our air to our tanks if we don't have energy? So let's go to renewable energy. I think it's a very challenging rethinking because we built the industrial age for over 100 years, and it's very difficult to undo unless we find very good alternatives. Good thing with human beings is that if there's a necessity, innovation can come up. So with the problem of the energy crisis, of the Hormuz choke point, and there's already a news that another strait is to be closed and it will increase from 20% to 40% shortfall of energy. I believe human beings have the ingenuity to innovate, no? And in that innovation, let's go back to the very basic principle. Are we not harming the environment in the long term? That should be the guiding principle in any innovation. So for now, champion ang free diving. Palakpakan na to.
Yes, we can take one more question. One more question for this panel, a set of panelists. Siyempre, marami pa po tayong speakers for this. We have one last na po.
Yes. By the way, I'm Emmanuel from South Shore Divers. Does the PCSSD still require membership for recreational divers for this year, or are you just encouraging it?
Pakiulit, sir. Di ko lang
Does the PCSSD requires registration for recreational divers, or are you just encouraging it?
Dalawa po yung ating categorization for those we accredit as individuals. We have the dive professionals. Yung dive professionals, mandatory po. Yung mga voluntary, excuse me, voluntary po siya. However, if you are an accredited diver by the PCSSD, should you require treatment in the government-owned or the TIEZA-owned chambers, you will get discounts and other perks. At the moment, we are renewing our MOAs with some of the dive suppliers that we may get, again, discounts. So some of the perks that we give to those who voluntarily register with the PCSSD.
Okay. Pwede bang one last question? But for Dr. Roy. Doc Roy, kasi I've been diving in different places. Tapos, I've seen 2 places in Southern Mindanao. Like, for example, in Malapatan and in Digos. Meron doong, the reef are medyo degraded, no? But oftentimes, there's always the nearby, in a few kilometers, merong, what's this? Parang fish ponds or yung mga fish ponds, no? And you mentioned a while ago that yung, yung algae or the other one, yung magpa-farming, seaweeds farming, helps to remove the, the nutrient. What's this? Yung nutrient base dun sa underwater. How effective is it?
Which one po, sir?
Yung pagtatanim para matanggal yung nutrients sa water.
We haven't tried it yet, and it's one of our research agenda right now, no? But I think with the volume, particularly when it rains na grabe ang ulan, no? I think the solution really is to cut it at the source, to highly regulate fish ponds, no? And it's really a complex problem because we are dealing with economy, livelihood, political will. So it has to go through a series of consultation and collaboration to address the problem, no? The problem with scientific interventions is the scale. So if we introduce seagrass beds and seagrass farming to solve this siltation problem, it's really a very tiny fraction of the big problem. So I think that's where most of our interventions failed, no? So technologies, techniques, and scientific research usually fall short when we talk about the scale of the problem. And if it's the scale of the problem, it's really systems, no? So I really hope that we could raise really good leaders, really good planners, and implementers of these programs that will address our problems at scale. Kana. When we say scale, oftentimes our solutions are tiny. Imagine, in our coral reef regeneration, the goal is only to restore 1% because of the scale. But with the 1% in coastal base and with communities, I believe there will be substantial impact in the regeneration of fisheries. So in Pojada Bay, we also have complications because it is a protected area, no? We even had hard time establishing our pilot site because the DNR don't want to put the artificial reef in a protected area. But we argue that it's already damaged area, so we went together to see, and then they approved, and we established the 100 square meters. We have to establish siguro around 2 hectares of this, and we can see the maybe sustainable supply of fingerlings of reef fishes. So, yun po. I think that's really a challenge, and I have no ready answer. That's why it is the assignment of the university. No, we can do experiments, but the problem is really about scale. Thank you.
Maraming salamat. Please give a round of applause to our panelists. Indeed, this is just the beginning of bigger conversations that we should have. And as we move to the next part of our program, we would like to honor and recognize your contributions and participation as our speakers and partners. To formally present certificates of appreciation, we would also like to request the presence of Arditania Rabatan to share these certificates. Now, the citation reads, "The Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to, in recognition of your outstanding contribution and steadfast commitment as a resource speaker for the Davao Dive Summit 2026, whose exemplary expertise and valuable insights have been instrumental in the successful implementation of the program and in advancing diving practices and marine conservation in the Davao region, given this 27th day of March 2026 in Davao City, signed by the Regional Director of the Department of Tourism, Region 11, Tanya Rabatan." Let's give our speakers another round of applause, please. Daghang salamat. And of course, if you have questions that you would like to ask, we will be here together until dinner and socials. Magsasama-sama pa po tayo dahil alam namang namin some of you are shy to ask your questions in front of such a huge audience. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue our journey this afternoon into ensuring safe and responsible diving. We are pleased to welcome our next speaker, Romir Aglugub, RN and Business Liaison for the Philippines at Dan World. Dive insurance is a crucial tool in protecting not just divers, but the entire diving community, from managing risks to providing timely assistance when accidents happen. Today, Mr. Aglugub will guide us through dive insurance, risk management, and protection for the diving community, sharing practical insights and strategies to ensure every dive is as safe and secure as possible. Now, I'm sure a lot of us will want to hear about this. Ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan po natin Romir Aglugub of Dan World.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much to Director Rabatan for having me here as your additional resource person. So, while we are fixing my slides, my laptop, I'd like to mention something about our talk. This will be like a transition from me to the next speaker and to the last speaker, because we're going to talk about risk mitigation, accident treatment, and innovation of technology that will be leading to much more safer and safer, but deeper and deeper diving. Because I think most research depth is the shallow depth. But we don't know what's in the much deeper world under the sea. Okay. As they mentioned, I am the business liaison for Divers Alert Network. And to quickly give you a background of who is Dan, everybody knows us as a dive insurance, but we are not. We are primarily a research organization that even the best doctors doesn't know what happened to a diver, because diving injuries and diseases was never taught in the medical schools. Only lately, with the advent of our, I hope he is here, Dr. Jeffrey Ramos, one of the bright diving physician who is already being mentioned worldwide, globally. It is now being included in one of the major subjects, which is physiology. sports physiology before, but now they are now integrating diving medicine. Okay, Harrison's physiology textbook of physiology. So I'm able to speak about that because I had a third year medicine. Okay. Okay na. Okay. All right, so without further ado, I'd like to go straight to the topic because I have only take 15 minutes talk time. So I'm going to talk about risk mitigation, okay, and protection for the diving community. Okay. By the way, I'm a nurse by profession, and I'm a certified hyperbaric specialist nurse. So I supervise the treatment, but I don't tinkle with the chamber because there are plenty of technicians who are expert in operating the panel. But we take care of the patient, we prevent injury while undergoing treatment. That is my main role. And nowadays, because of technology, I work most of the time remotely. So I am a triage nurse for diving emergency. It's a very special area of emergency medicine wherein not everybody knows what to do. Okay, so we use apps in triaging. We will find out who will be treated first. We will even know who will die and leave it to die. Sorry for mentioning, but that is the truth in diving. We all enjoy the pleasure of diving, but very few try to understand the danger side of it, which is highly preventable and avoidable. Okay. Okay, so areas of high risk. Everybody knows this, especially the instructors and the dive master. We have the dive center. That's an area of risk because you have fire. We don't know if we drill fire every 3 months at least. So that whenever fire break, mabilis ang pagpigil ng fire. Now, dive center has oxygens and high pressure tanks. All right? That is a very vulnerable place to cause incident. And then, especially explosion. We don't have a good building prevention permit for building structure that could prevent breaking the walls. The wall must be thick enough to prevent an exploding cylinder, scuba cylinder. It's like a grenade with many large, sharp shrapnels of metallic object. Okay. And we have the pool, especially slippery and pushing. In the side of the pool, people, kids play, they push. Number 1 rule is avoid, bawal ang tulakan. Okay? That's very common sa akin yan because I work for long time in an emergency room. Basag bungo, basag ang lulod, or wrist fracture because they tend to press this. Lalo pag mga kids. Wrist fracture, arm fracture, and tibia fracture. Okay? And then we have the wild diving. Yan. Dito ang maraming mataas na risk. Diving accidents, example, nagsa-surface interval ka lang, nag-i-skin diving ka lang because you're waiting for the right time to dive again and you are hit by a speedboat, a hayward speedboat or bangka with a propeller. Okay? Now, diving insurance, they cover that. Pero maraming tumawag sa akin, Romer, paano kaya to? Ang mahal pala ng bayad sa emergency room. Oh, you can claim that from the insurance. They didn't know the covered pala yun. Okay? Kahit hindi diving. But diving related. Okay, so we have also stings, marine injury. We are specialized in treating different kinds of marine injuries. Number 1, kilala nyo to, box jellyfish. Suka, that's no way. You cannot, you cannot treat them with suka. But I have a secret. I can treat that by myself only. If I can urinate volumes of urine, then I can treat that myself. Do you agree with that? What's in it? Ammonia. So if you can buy ammonia, baunin nyo sa tuwing dive nyo. And that is a wonder drug. It's like magic. Biglang wala yung hapdi at kate or sakit. If you leave it untreated, it will leave burn marks or it could kill by cardiac arrest. Especially if the salabay are here or face. Okay. Then while in transport, I just finished diving. And then I'm walking in a very, very steep stairs in Anilao. Marami doon. Steep. 100 steps. I slip. That's an injury related to diving. Okay? Or pababa pa lang. Buhat-buhat ng bigat-bigat ng backpack mo full of gear. You fall. You cannot control and you could be seriously injured. So, how do you protect them? The question here is, what if it happens? The question is, what can you do? What do we do if it happens? Okay? What if it calls for 1 million or more than million pesos? Do we have the ready money to spend for that? Okay? Karamihan ng divers, walang insurance. Guilty? Guilty? Yes. Okay? So, ways that risk can be minimized. Creating and following emergency action plans. EAP. Sino mga rescue divers na dito? We learn that you have to practice your rescue skill at least every 6 months. Do you do that? Pustahan tayo. Hindi lalampas sa 10 ang tataas dito that yes, I do that. If you can say, if there are 10, we'll say they do that, I have a gift. T-shirt, done t-shirt, mamaya. Di ba? That is a risk. Because once there's a real incident, you can react instinctively, correctly. Pero kung hindi natin pinapractice, even BLS, CPR, hindi natin pinapractice, once there is a real incident, we panic. Okay? Standards, operating procedure, as E.D. Marco said, there is a standards, but the matter is, how is it implemented? Are the standards being implemented? For example, reporting of incident. Are the resorts, operators, who happen to have a diving injury or incident, do they do the rules of reporting an incident? Not to punish you, but to use that as basis for learning how to prevent it. That is part of risk and mitigation. And next time around, the same incident will not happen, or if it happens, lessen ang effect. All right? Next, first aid kit. Lahat mayroon. Pero pag tiningnan ko, expired na yung mga gamot. That's my job. Education. Dan's role is to teach. Awareness. I check the first aid kit. Not suitable for marine injury. Suitable for vehicular injuries. Paano ba yun? Kasi binili lang sa Mercury, hindi naman nag-aral ng tamang marine injury safety and intervention. Mayroon tayong EFR. In-audit ko ang EFR and all other diving agency first aid course. There are lacking that will address risk mitigation. Later, I will mention one important. Ito na pala. Oxygen first aid.
Lahat ba kayo may oxygen every time you dive? Sabi nila, yes. Ang gamit pala nila yung oxygen pang ambulansya sa pang hospital. That is wrong. Later, that will be continued by our doctor speaker here. Bakit high flow oxygen equipment ang kailangan? And then availability of oxygen equipment. Yun na nga, sabi ko, correct equipment. Correct. And done, designed through research, a device, a regulator, and a delivery system that addresses prevention of worsening of diving injury. Sometimes, yung first aid nagiging treatment na rin. Like me, for example, I had one incident hit wherein I slept with oxygen. The following day, wala na yung symptoms. But I still have to see a diving doctor. The diving doctor, yes, you had a hit, but you are lucky. The oxygen was right on time, correct dosage, and correct duration. Dudugtungan niya ni doktor mamaya. Okay, then, finally, industry government standards. The diving agency has already established a high-quality, ISO-accredited standards. But, again, the implementation is the question. The local regulator will be our DOT, the PCSSD, how they are going to either enhance the standard or implement them strictly by the book. Kasi diving, if you follow the rules and regulation or the standards and procedure by the book, safety, not guaranteed, but mitigated or lessened ang effect niya. Okay? I'm a dive instructor for more than 30 years already. Not a single incident because I teach by the book. Ngayon, hindi na by the book, by PDF. Ngayon, hindi na by PDF, by cloud. iCloud. Bigyan kitang access o aralin mo ha, and then we can Zoom together. Ang hindi pwedeng gawing remote, yung skills. Man-to-man, face-to-face talaga. Okay, so the standards, again, standards, operating procedures, and so on. Next, first aid on oxygen first aid. Yeah. Skills are necessary for almost any medical emergency, especially diving injuries. Ang first aid, oxygen, needs training. We sell. Dan sells what they have developed, but we do not sell it without training because it is dangerous. Okay. I will go straight to this. Everybody can tell me what is the code number, code name of this, whatever you see here. There are two types of tank bulb, oxygen tank bulb. They have code. One is code CGA 540. The other one is code CGA 870. What do we have in the Philippines? That is what we have, right? Whatever size, whether in ambulance, in the hospital, in the live aboard, in the resort, it's all the same. Okay? But some other dive resort, they have that kind of bulb, which is CGA 870. That is CGA 540. What is CGA? That is Compressed Gases Association. Okay? So, this is the index type, or the pin type, or the yoke type. The partner oxygen regulator is that one. The partner oxygen regulator is that one. So that one is a CGA 540 regulator. That is a CGA 870 regulator. Look at the number 25. Can you see that? Yan. 25 liters per minute ang flow rate niya. The goal is to give 100% oxygen or nearly 100% oxygen. However, if you have the wrong equipment, you may not be able to deliver them. Now, this thing needs proper training. So we have training courses that I am licensed to certify. Only few of us can teach and certify. Okay. So EAP, Emergency Action Plan. You have a sticker outside. You can get that. We have 1, 2, 3 to remember. Diving Accident Action Plan. Commence oxygen immediately because if you delay it, you will have hard to treat case in the chamber or in the emergency room. Meron isa dito tumatawa kasi tama, na-experience na niya yun. Okay, and the next is, go to the doctor, not to the chamber. Dive instructor, don't argue with me. Don't debate with me. You have to go to the emergency room kasi baka kala natin, Benz, yun pala, MI. Or baka kala natin, Benz, yun pala, stroke. That will be continued by our doctor speaker later on. And then lastly, if you are a member of DAN, call DAN. DAN will pay everything for you. Kahit pauwi ka na aksidente, yung car mo, you will be injured, hospitalized. Or kailangan kang airlift from an island to your place, DAN will pay for it. Just recently, we airlifted, we treated, we spent close to 3M. Luckily, he was a member of DAN. And this is downloadable. If you are a member of DAN, Dive Pros, you can study this, you can download this. This is a very scientific EAP planning writable materials or tools. Dive briefing, magaling kayo mag-briefing, pero do you say, where is the oxygen in your boat? Wala nga ang oxygen na yung boat eh. That's why we are considered to be medyo dangerous diving destination kasi yung mga boat natin walang mga oxygen in case of emergency. Oxygen kagad. Kahit seasickness lang, ino-oxygen ko kagad eh. Okay? Sino ang nagdadive na nagdadala ng mirror? Paano pag nawala kayo? Eroplano na naghahanap. Eroplano, mabilis makita pag may kang mirror reflector. I don't think may nagdadala pa ng ganyan. Okay, so kanina, parang something like that. Safety, culture of safety. Operators must be well-trained, well-informed. Crew must be trained also how to handle oxygen. And tourists, they will search. Sino kayang DAN-compliant resort? Doon ako pupunta. So, safety, expertise in safety is a good business marketing strategy. Kung kompleto kayo, tapos may nakadikit kayo dyan na DAN business member, meaning you are trained properly. And so DAN is the only organization that does work in research, awareness, education about prevention of injuries and intervention. We are also the only medical consultation for diving emergency. You can call DAN. If you're a doctor, call DAN, and they will guide you on how to treat or diagnose. DAN has just devoted $100 million for the continuation of our mission is to prevent and help make diving safer and injury-free. Okay? Your membership will also add up to that. So finally, in order for us, photographers, we are the most vulnerable diver to be hit by beds. Kaya please take care of what you just heard here, and hopefully you will enroll as DAN member or any dive insurance will do. We are non-profit, so we don't compete. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maraming salamat, Mr. Aglugob. I'm sure so many of our instructors are ready to ask you more in-depth questions. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, later on you can ask your questions directly to our speakers. And now for our next segment, we dive into the world of innovation, technology, and the latest trends in diving, a topic that's shaping how we explore, learn, and protect our oceans. Joining us is someone who brings both expertise and passion to the Philippine diving community. Gordos Mateo Guhunco, the training manager of SSI Philippines. Mr. Guhunco will share insights on how modern technology from smart dive computers and virtual training tools to advanced gear, together with evolving industry trends, are transforming the way divers experience the underwater world. Let's give a warm welcome to Gordos Mateo Guhunco.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So first of all, thank you for having us here. Thank you to our RD, Ma'am Tanya Rabatan, for inviting us today. And thank you for my colleagues that are experts in various fields that I am sharing this stage with them. So the topic assigned to me is all about innovation, technology, and current trends in diving. Next slide, please. So just another quick introduction about myself. I'm Gords. I'm the training manager for Scuba Schools International Philippines. And I got certified 2004 as an open water diver. And ever since, I fell in love with the water. So I became a dive master somewhere along the way. That was around 2008. And at 2010, I took the leap and became an instructor. So my current level now for SSI is I'm an instructor trainer and a certifier. So I develop a lot of instructors and professionals for our agency. So it's across different disciplines. So for SSI, we do swim. We also do free diving, of course, scuba, and extended range, or for most of us, we term it as technical diving. So my current passion is to develop dive professionals in the region, and I'm also a rescue enthusiast. I'm an emergency medical technician. That's how I survived during the pandemic. When diving was closed, I was working in the ambulance, and I'm also a volunteer firefighter. So my topic also touches a bit of diving safety. So let's skip this video. Okay, so topics that I would be discussing for today is about our digital training, full face mask and communication, DPVs, closed circuit rebreathers. I'll introduce G-pacers, and in the end, if we have time, summary and Q&A. Next slide, please. So this one, those who attended the seminar from organized by the Office of Product and Market Development Dive in Manila. I'm taking this slide, copying it from Professor Maricel Badilla's slide because I think it's relevant for the topic that was assigned to me. It's about niche markets. Because when we talk about innovation and new equipment, we're actually talking of specialized markets. So when she showed me this slide, it struck me. So comparing these two, imagine you have 10,000 divers or tourists paying you 1,000 pesos. That would earn you an income of 10 million pesos in the end. And targeting the niche market, which is only 1,000 divers or tourists, but spending more, about 10,000 pesos, ending up the same income for your business. So this is the target market that we're trying to get. So for SSI, we have developed digital training materials. So that is the specialty of SSI training. Actually, in the beginning, when we were introducing digital materials pre-pandemic, a lot of our customers were complaining and were not happy. Why? Because we want something tangible. If we pay, we want the book, we want the hard materials that we are holding in our hand. But fast forward after the pandemic, all of us now are on digital. So By having the digital materials online, it allows our instructors to have more in-water time with our students. Especially for foreign guests, they can sign up before they come to the Philippines. Some of them, they read the materials and finish the online exams during their long-haul flight. And by the time they arrive here, our instructors don't need to reteach everything, but just needs to check if they really understood what is there on the knowledge and academic side. And then just focus on the in-water training. So this is one of the changes now. Most training agencies are now shifting to digital training materials. Next slide, please. So it is as easy as downloading it on your phone. So for those of you who are not aware of it, you can check on your phone on iOS or on Google Store on Android. Just type My SSI. It's the SSI dark red logo with the black background. So once you download this, you can register an account, click on any center. There are centers here in Davao that it would prompt you to join. Just click any random one because you can join any center. And automatically, your customers will get free courses. What are the free courses? Number one, especially for non-divers, you'll get the snorkel diver for free. So I know we introduce a lot of snorkeling in the market. So to put a value on that, it is free of charge. Have your guests download the app, register. They'll get a manual talking about snorkeling equipment and snorkeling safety. And after they've done the activity with you, without charging anything, you can issue a digital card and digital certificate to them. So it gives more value to the experience and to the product that you're selling. Other free courses are Try Scuba, and we also have the Blue Oceans. So the Blue Oceans is same as my colleagues here talking about environment. It's our environmental campaign, and it discusses a lot of different topics from plastics to shark finning to marine protected areas. It's not as deep, but it's understandable to most people. So they'll be able to relate. So it's automatically free, and we also have our digital logbook, free of charge. So for those of you who are divers, even if you are not SSI, you can use our logbook. And every time you log on our app, it goes to our database. Database that it goes to scubago.com. So our database, let's say you dive a site here in Davao. For example, you saw a treasure shark. It would go to the database and it would tell there that a treasure shark has been seen in Davao, just for example. And then the more people who say that they saw it in the month of February, the graphs would rise. So travelers, when they look, they would know if I want to see this particular marine life, I would go on that month. Okay, so logging using our app also helps promote. We can talk about this more in detail because my time is sort of limited. But I'm happy to explain it more to you when we have time. Next slide, please. So one of the new equipment that is available out there are full face masks. So full face masks are nice for individuals who are afraid of getting water in their eyes, who are afraid from transitioning from breathing through their mouth, because it's oronasal. So people can breathe through their nose. And for our friends in the Coast Guard and the DRRM office, and especially scientific divers, we now have a way to communicate. Diver to diver and diver to topside support. So this equipment are already available now. Next slide, please. So I'll also touch a bit about diver propulsion vehicles. So now that we are in fuel crisis because of the war happening in the Middle East, so it's like switching to electric vehicles, right? So I don't want to compete with boats because, of course, these are livelihoods. And it is still nicer to access sites with dive boats. But for the meantime, of course, the world has bigger problems. But for our tourism industry, for those divers who can just do shore dive, and if you want to get to a certain site previously accessible by boat, but since the boat costs are high now, if you have DPVs, you can still access it with proper training and with proper planning. And DPVs, there are a lot of brands. So I'm here not to sell a particular brand. I will give you choices, but you can choose from a technical DPV like this, which can cost a lot but would offer you more range, to a recreational DPV that are quite smaller too. Okay, next slide please. And we also now have SCR or CCR or rebreathers. So a lot of people who purchase rebreathers have the capacity to pay. Of course, they invested on it already. They invested on their training. And they are looking for places where they can play around with this unit. So if we can provide them with destinations where they can dive using this, they would definitely come and travel. And then they normally stay for a long time. Because traveling with this heavy equipment, they won't stay overnight. So probably a week or more. So this is one of the market that we want to try and capture. Okay, next slide. So the first three, I can expound one of the particular equipment like ocean reef, full face mask, DPV, or CCR into a 15-minute topic. But since it's quite short, I just made an intro of it. If you are interested to find out more about it, I'm happy to discuss it separately. I'll be here until Monday. So I'll be here this afternoon. You can get my contacts. I'll give it later on. I can give you my card and we can arrange an appointment. So one thing that I want to highlight more is this G-Spacers technology. So, okay lang, it's fine. So it comes in a box like this. Okay, so nowadays, with the equipment that we were talking about, you have DPVs, you have rebreathers, you have full face mask. So you're extending your range underwater. So how can we talk about safety? So this equipment, when you open the box, it has a tablet, but it doesn't need to be a specific tablet. It could be your tablet that you are using now because it works on an app. You just need to download the app, and the app connects to the receiving unit. Okay? And the receiving unit talks to the transmitting unit. So it works on radio waves. So what is this for? Next slide, please. So imagine a diver in the water. So the boat should have the receiving unit. So what will happen is, whether on land, on terrestrial, or you're on your boat, you just need to put this as high as you can. Because like any radio, right? If there's a higher object blocking the waves, then the signals would be disrupted. As long as it's clear on its path, it would show on the app the map of the area. And then the divers can go diving, carrying the receiving unit. Okay, in their pocket. So this has been tested up to 150 meters. So they can carry along in their pocket, and once they surface and pop up, all they have to do is turn the device on. Once they turn the device on, they would be seen. So initially, coming out of the box, it would just give the serial number, but you can change it every time with your name. So a shop who owns several of these has the option to give it to the guide or to the dive master. Or for more challenging dives, and if you know that the area that you're visiting is far off and has more current, you want individual divers to have this. And you can change them by name. So by the time they're surface, you know where they are. And you can locate them. Okay? And it has also an alarm function so that if in case the person on the boat monitoring the app got distracted a little bit, maybe playing on his phone or is on Facebook or Instagram, it would create an audible sound that I already surfaced. And it's foolproof because it's not rocket science. All the boatman has to do is face the tablet where the locations of his and her or her diver is, and then you just approach. Then now you can locate the diver that has surfaced. Next slide, please. So this product is being brought in by Tech Asia. So that's why they're located in Puerto Galera. So they made a tower unit there. So the tower unit is located in Smola, Laguna. So every time the divers turn on their device, they can see diver 016, 127, where they are in the vicinity. But the limitation of the tower is it cannot read the bay behind because the mountain would be blocking it already. But for areas that are quite open, it's ideal for dive centers in the area or the LGUs to collaborate and build a tower. Because once the tower is up, all you have to provide are the receivers, which are quite cheaper. Okay? And then for the boat, you want to have a portable receiving unit so that you can cover areas that are blocked with terrain. And the nice thing about this is if most of your divers, especially those who are diving in areas that are far off, unusual dive sites, or they're doing exploration, they can each carry this unit, the receiver. And I would suggest the Coast Guard, the DRRM, or those who are in charge with search and rescue to have a receiver. Because if in case there is a missing diver and then you need to locate the person, all they have to do is turn on their device, and those that you dispatch to search will turn this on, then it's easier for you to find the diver. And unfortunate as it is, missing diver incidents are not that uncommon. It's one of the scariest things that we can do, that can happen to a diver, because we can plan the dive really well, and then we can execute down to the dot, plan your dive and dive your plan, and when you surface, you don't see a boat. Okay? So this is something that we start to need to think about. It's a different story if you're diving dive sites that are regularly dived and that are high volume. Because your boat might be missing, but the boat of the next center is there to help you out. But if you're now doing more challenging sites and your sites are not busy, this one may help save a life. So the nice thing about this unit also, since it's working on a system like radio waves, it's independent. Because this is not the only system that's out in the market. There are other brands out there that are functioning like EPIRBs. But the problem on that is you have to pray that there's a boat that has an EPIRB that would be able to read your signal. Okay? So if the boats, which is common here, the local boats don't have that technology, then if you utilize them for search operations, then the chances would be smaller. But with this, just carrying the receiving unit, then you can find it. This brand is from Taiwan. Tech Asia tested it first before they bring it here. And yeah, so far it works. So I don't work for Tech Asia, but since I find the system really functional, I just want to share that this is available. If in case you guys want to check it out, they asked me to bring this demo unit. So later this afternoon or tomorrow, you can play around it. When we turned it on, even on the parking lot, you go around, the system will detect where you are. So if in case you are interested, I'll try to present as much as I can more later on. But if it's purchasing, I would just direct you to them. And yeah. Okay, next slide, please. So this is an example. The one with Tech, TEC. You see the other two? It's just a round path 016 and AD1. It means they didn't turn on the alarm. Tech maybe is drifting for a while, turned on the alarm. That's why the display is different. So this is what would be displayed on the screen of the app. It works on the phone, but of course the screen of the phone is smaller. So it's better to use a bigger screen, which is a tablet. Okay, next slide, please. So that's the end of my presentation. Again, with the things that I introduced, if in case you're interested, I'll be here until Monday. We can exchange numbers, and I'm happy to maximize my time here to share this with you. I'll leave my mobile number here. You can reach me at WhatsApp, Viber, and or my email. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gohungo. I saw some very many engaged members of our audience. I think they are very interested in what you've shared with us this afternoon. Up next, we are diving into a topic that is literally life-saving for anyone exploring the underwater world, medical support for divers. Please help me welcome Dr. Emmanuel Olmoguez, an emergency medical specialist at Southern Philippines Medical Center and a fellow in training in undersea diving and hyperbaric medicine. He will guide us through safe depths, dive medicine, and navigating medical support for divers, helping us understand how to stay safe, recognize risks, and access the right medical support when it matters the most. Let's give a warm round of applause to Dr. Olmoguez.
So good afternoon. So I'm Dr. Olmoguez. People call me Doc Eman. Okay. So I'm an emergency medicine specialist. I'm the kind of doctor you do not want to have. Okay? Because by the time I'm your doctor, you're already in a bad situation. All right? But, I would like to emphasize at this moment, that in any diving emergencies, okay, a lot of things could have been done. No, we could have followed safety procedures, or we could have missed out that one simple procedure that could have prevented that emergency. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about right now is actually more of a reactive phase. Okay, not the preventive phase. Okay, so stick with me. This will just be a very quick discussion on what to do during diving emergencies. Okay, so next slide, please. So for the outline of my discussion this afternoon, I will be teaching you how to detect or diagnose if you have decompression illness. Okay, the most dreaded, or one of the most dreaded injuries in diving. Next is the first aid strategies. Okay, remote triage and evacuation and delay. So next slide, please. So what is decompression illness? Okay, most divers are familiar with it. Okay, decompression illness. Okay, it's a collective term between decompression sickness and arterial gas embolism. Two disparate situations, same pathophysiology. And that is bubble formation in the body. All right? So next. So how does decompression illness develop? So basically, when we dive underneath the ocean, we are breathing in 21% oxygen and 79% nitrogen. Now, when we inhale that nitrogen, now that nitrogen is actually dissolved in our body. Okay? Now, once a diver has an emergency underneath, it prompts him to ascend rapidly. Okay? So what happens to that dissolved nitrogen in the body? It expands. It basically becomes a bubble. Okay? Much like opening a can of or a bottle of soft drinks. Okay? When you open the cap, pop, there's a bubble formation. That's basically what's happening in decompression illness. Okay? So that bubble will now damage the tissues and will have much of the manifestations that are, presented in a decompression illness. Next slide, please. So decompression sickness versus arterial gas embolism. Decompression sickness basically happens in the venous side of the body and also the tissues. Arterial gas embolism, basically it's in the arteries, the one that's pushing blood out and away from the heart. Okay? Next slide, please. Now, decompression sickness, how do we detect that? Paano natin malalaman that a diver who has undergone a rapid ascent is already having a decompression sickness? Okay? These are the manifestations. Ito yung babantayan ninyo. Okay? Type 1. No, there's two types of decompression sickness. Type 1, musculoskeletal, and cutaneous. Musculoskeletals, no? Sabihin natin, if the bubbles were formed in the muscles, then it would present as muscle pains. If it forms in the joints, you would have joint pains. Okay? And if that bubble forms in the skin and the lymphatics, then you have the distinct rashes in the body called the cutis marmorata. Okay? The other one, okay, the type 2 DCS involves two systems. Okay? This is the more serious one. This is what we fear about. If that bubble forms in the brain, then you have the neurologic manifestation. If that bubble forms in the spine, you wouldn't be able to move. So that's basically the symptom of decompression sickness. Okay? Next, pulmonary chokes. Okay? If that bubble forms in the lungs, then you would have difficulty breathing, coughing. Okay? So, for the divers, it's important that you recognize these symptoms right away if you have an emergency ascent. Okay? Next slide, please. Arterial gas embolism. Okay, quite the same. Gas from the arteries would go into the brain, would manifest like a stroke. Ano ba yung manifestations ng stroke? Aphasia, hindi nakakasalita. Facial asymmetry, right-sided or left-sided weakness. Okay? Sometimes it could present as blindness, sudden onset blindness. And if that bubble lodges in the heart, pwedeng cardiac arrhythmia, pwedeng cardiac arrest. Okay? Next is the motor and sensory. Okay? Basically, nanghihina ang first half or the other half of the body. Okay? Now, how do we differentiate from the AGE from DCS? Now, when we have a rapid ascent, AGE would manifest within minutes of rapid ascent. DCS, on the other hand, would take about 30 minutes to an hour for it to have the manifestations. Okay? But both have the same pathophysiology, both have the same treatment. Next, please. So, dito na tayo. Procedural considerations. Next slide, please. Now, it is imperative and it is the responsibility of everyone. Every diver, every diving resort, every diving operations. Okay? Before any dive, you should know whom to contact. Okay? Alamin nyo, you should know the local numbers of your EMS services. Okay? The ambulance services, even the local diving physician that you have. Okay? When in doubt, when you have these symptoms, okay, even if it is mild, okay, when you are in doubt, try to call a diving physician. And let me take this opportunity. Next slide, please. Davao is very much capable of handling all decompression sickness. Okay? I'm showing here the contact number of SPMC Hyperbaric Medicine. Please, okay, do not hesitate to call us if you are in doubt that you are having decompression sickness oftentimes is associated with drowning. Okay? So we must know how to manage a drowning victim. Drowning. Okay. When that victim is already lifted out of the water, placed in the boat, okay, always, ang first question, okay, let me emphasize this, check for consciousness. Okay? Check for consciousness. Hey, are you okay? Basically, BLS. Okay? Pag hindi nag-respond, there's no response, call for help. Do not delay that one. Do not do anything else. Call for help. Call the EMS, call a diving physician or anyone that can support you during those emergencies. Next, anong gagawin? If you have already called for help, check for pulse and breathing. Titingnan nyo ang pasyente if he is breathing. How do you check? Put your hand on the nose. Is there a flow of air? Put your, try to look at the sides of the chest. Is it rising? Is it not? And if not, no, the patient is or the victim is not breathing, then you do your rescue breaths. Okay? Most of us are uncomfortable with doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. No, but there are equipments. The oronasal or BBM, no, devices where you can deliver breaths not by kissing the victim. Okay? Next is to check for pulse. Okay? If there is pulse, good thing. But if there's no pulse, you cannot feel the pulse in the carotids or in the femoral area, start CPR. Okay, let me emphasize this as an emergency physician. It is the responsibility of everyone to do a CPR. It is not just the responsibility of an EMS, it is the responsibility of everyone. Every diver should know how to do a CPR. It is life-saving, it is easy. Okay, the trainings are very cheap. Try to train with a basic life support. Okay? So if there's no pulse, start CPR. When do you stop? If there is pulse. Of course, you check every 2 minutes. Every 30 compressions, you give 2 breaths. And after 2 minutes, you try, or 5 cycles, you try to check if there is pulse. If there is no pulse, continue. Continue doing the CPR. Another endpoint, no, kailan mag-end yung CPR is when yes, exhaustion of the one giving the CPR. So that goes without saying, you should extend the CPR until the help arrives. Okay? Until you are exhausted. Until the EMS can take over for you to do CPR. Okay? You're basically letting this patient breathe. You're basically letting this patient pump the blood throughout the body. And you are the only one who can save it. You are the only one at that moment who can save that victim. Okay? Next. Sorry. Okay, that is for unconscious and the extremes, no? Diving-related injury with a drowning component. Now, let's talk about those who are having decompression sickness, okay? But they are up and about, and okay, they can talk to you, okay? But they have the manifestations, the pain, and everything. So, ito yung one of the paramount intervention, oxygen. Okay? Oxygenation. If you will try to call Divers Alert Network, okay, the first thing that they will always say is find an oxygen source. It's either in a resort, it's either in an emergency complex, okay? Or maybe, luckily, if nandun sa boat nyo, okay? So, one thing, no? For you to use an oxygen, you need to be trained on it. Okay? But let me just emphasize, no, that by giving 100% oxygen, you are actually, no, increasing the diffusion gradient. That means the nitrogen inside the bubbles, you are pulling it out away, making that bubble shrink. Okay, so that's why we administer right away 100% oxygen. Okay, I've received some calls. A doctor would call me, Doc, I need a referral for a hyperbaric treatment because we have a patient that has undergone rapid ascent in a dive. Okay, we need the hyperbaric oxygen. And lo and behold, when I asked him, Doc, what are the interventions that you have done already? Wala pang oxygen. Okay? Always think decompression sickness, oxygen is always the first intervention. Next, please. So I am just emphasizing this because there are a lot of errors on this one. Okay? The standard oxygen delivery is the non-rebreather mask and the bag valve mask. Okay? UHMS recommends that when you administer an oxygen, it should be close to 100% oxygen breathed in. Okay? I've seen some use nasal cannula. Okay? The flow rate is just 1 to 5 liters per minute, but they tend to use it at 15 liters per minute. You can just imagine the air flowing through your nose at 15 liters per minute. Ang sakit nun. Okay, that's very uncomfortable. That's not good. Even if you ramp it up to 15 liters per minute, it won't reach the 100% oxygen level. Next is try to differentiate a simple face mask versus a non-rebreather mask. A non-rebreather mask has a reservoir. This one has none. Okay? This one cannot deliver close to 100% oxygen. This one can, and this one is used if you are trained. It can also deliver nearly 100% oxygen. Okay? Next slide, please. No. Next things to do. Okay? You have administered oxygen. Ang susunod na gagawin, let that patient lie supine. Supine meaning higa. Higang-higa. Lie flat all throughout. Do not let them arise or walk because bubbles are less dense than blood. Okay? By the action of the density, yung less dense, pumupunta paakyat. Now, you don't want that bubbles to go into the brain of the patient. Okay? So, have them lie supine all throughout. Next is hydration. If the patient can drink, okay, have them drink isotonic fluids. Okay? What are isotonic fluids, if you may ask? For the purpose of discussion, I'm not connected to any of these brands, okay, but the popular ones are Pocari, Vivalite, Pedialyte. Okay? So, if the patient can drink, have them drink it. But if it's not available, have them drink water. It's also acceptable. Why are we doing this? Because when you drink water, the venous pressure increases. No, if the pressure increases, the bubble size will decrease. Okay? Next, keep the patient thermoregulated. Ibig sabihin, keep them warm. Most of them are hypothermic. They just came up from a dive. Their body are cold. Have a blanket. It will make a difference. Okay? But do not expose them directly to sunlight. Okay? Next slide, please. Okay, this is a concept that we would want you to know, very importantly. Triage by telemedicine. Now, as diving physicians, we are more than happy to assist you, to call you, to arrange everything for you until you will reach our facility. Okay? Kakausapin namin ng doktor, kakausapin namin whoever is there, just so we could arrange a DCS patient to be placed in our chamber. Okay? Next, please. So the goal is likely to evaluate. Okay? The doctor will say, oh, baka this is not DCS. Okay? This might be another thing. Oh, this is DCS. So you need to come here as soon as possible. Next, please. Now, the effect of delay to recompression. Ito yung another important thing that I would like to emphasize to you. Next slide, please. Now, in any DCS, however mild it is, kahit cutaneous manifestation, it is imperative that we do recompression therapy, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. If it's mild, yeah, we can do away with 24 to 48 hours delay. But if it's a serious kind of DCS, the type 2 DCS, 6 hours is the golden hour. Anything beyond it, well, there's lesser and lesser benefit to hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Okay? Next, please. Transportation of DCI patient. Next slide, please. So, in any DCS emergency, coordination is paramount. As again, call your diving physician. Okay? We need to agree between the ground ambulance, the air ambulance, and the receiving team in the emergency department. Okay? Those things matter. Okay? It will lessen the delay. Next is air evacuation. When we try to evacuate a patient using a helicopter or a plane, no? So we try to pressurize the cabin to 1 atmosphere absolute and fly below 150 meters or 150 meters above the pick-up location. Okay? This lessens the risk because when you fly by a plane, the bubbles would tend to expand. Okay? So that's why it's a low-altitude flight. Next is commercial airliner. Okay, this is a controversial topic. Is it allowed for a victim of DCS? Okay, he does not have any means to transfer to a facility but using a commercial airliner. Is it allowed? Okay, one thing that must be satisfied, talk with a diving physician. Okay, if he says that your DCS is mild, okay, and he has the symptoms are stabilized, then he can probably tell you, okay, you can just take a plane, commercial plane, and then come here at our facility, and then we will do the hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It is the diving physician who will do that. Okay? Prior to the flight, it is also beneficial to administer 100% oxygen. Okay, next slide, please. In-water compression therapy. Okay, very controversial. Some would advocate, some would not. Okay, just a point. Okay, if you are not trained to do in-water recompression therapy, please do not do it. Okay, so this is basically a DCS patient. No, so because there's no hyperbaric facility, they put the patient back into the water, have them breathe for the 100% oxygen at depth for quite some time. Now, hoping that the bubbles would would shrink, okay? But that has a lot of risk. And you need to satisfy all the trainings, all the equipments before you can do it. Okay? Next slide, please. And lastly, here is the gold standard treatment, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So this is our hyperbaric chamber in SPMC. Okay? It can, inside, you will be placed in a stretcher. You will have an attendant with you. Someone will be assisting you all throughout. Okay? Treatments usually last for 5 to 8 hours, depending on the severity. Okay? So, Davao is very much capable of handling this. Okay? It's sad that sometimes, okay, I hear may pumupunta pa ng ibang bansa. Okay? Davao is very much capable. Okay? Next slide, please. Okay, this is the console. Next slide, please. So, rationale, by Boyle's law pa rin, you tend to decrease the size of the bubbles. Hyperoxygenation, and it's also reducing the neutrophil adhesion, thereby leading to less inflammation. And who gets hyperbaric oxygen therapy? All severity of DCS or AGE. Okay? So, next slide. I think that would be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olmuguez, for that very informative session on dive medicine. And now, for the sake of brevity, we move on into our open forum. So please join me back here on stage, Dr. Olmuguez. And of course, we would like to request the presence once again of Mr. Ramir Aglugub and Mr. Gordos Gohunko. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is your chance to be able to ask your questions directly sa ating mga panelists po ngayon. At syempre, yun pong may mga gustong i-share na insights beyond just asking your questions. Now is the perfect time for us to be able to do that. And of course, we value all of your questions, your insights, your interactions with our speakers. Kaya syempre, nag-andam sila para aning event na to. This afternoon, we are gathered together, ready to learn more and gain yung si Sir po na naka-green sa likod. After. Okay, thank you po. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Doc Manny. I am Marco. By profession, I am a commercial diver. I'm also a DMT diver medic. And the most common question is, DCS is basically similar in symptoms to a stroke. In our industry here in recreational diving, this is almost always overlooked. What is your advice pertaining to these situations? Kasi a lot of especially yung mga people on duty of care, they tend to resist or state of denial. Sabi yung minamalit nila. So can you give us advice?
Okay. If you will try to ask me, is it possible to differentiate a stroke from a DCS without any diagnostics? No. Okay? It's not. Okay? So, when we try to interview a patient, we tend to look for clues. Okay? If there is rapid ascent and the patient would manifest with stroke-like symptoms, that is most likely decompression sickness. If the patient did not have any violation to decompression stops, okay, safety procedures were followed, slow ascent, okay, and then the patient would present with stroke-like symptoms, what we would do, okay, this might not be a stroke, okay, let's do CT scan. Okay, that's the only way we can differentiate if the stroke symptoms is different from DCS. Okay? So, one thing I would like to impart, both stroke and DCS is time-bounded. Both needs to go to the emergency complex as soon as possible. And it will be our job to differentiate both. Okay? Thank you.
Sir, I would like to follow up, sorry. In terms of this industry, do we have laws, regulations, or standards about the practice of or the industry of hyperbaric oxygen pertaining to treatment of DCS? Is this a regulated industry?
Regulated industry.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that means, but well, sir, any Filipino, either Davao or from the the surrounding provinces, they can go to the hyperbaric oxygen therapy if deemed that they have DCS. Okay, we can treat anyone. I'm not sure with the regulation, really.
Yes, sir. The PCSSD being a regulatory agency, we have interacted with DOH because we were seeking guidance on the regulation of the treatment of DCS. In other countries, hyperbaric chambers are regulated, like Singapore. Lahat ng mga decompression facilities doon are registered with the government.
Yeah.
So meron din po bang similar laws in the Philippines for this thing? Or?
Yeah. Okay. Sir, yung hyperbaric facility po ng Davao is actually in conjunction with UHMS and the Australian Society of Hyperbaric Medicine. Well, we tried to create our own society that we don't want to touch some nerve here, but the society is created for us to move forward in terms of regulation in the Philippines. True, okay? SPMC Hyperbarics is the one and only hyperbaric facility that is practicing clinical hyperbarics. But there are a lot of hyperbaric facilities in the Philippines. Okay? And most do not have any regulation because we do not have a regulating body for that one.
Yes, sir. Precisely. But it's not that we're questioning what you're doing, sir. We're seeking clarification because we, as the regulatory body for the scuba diving, we need to be working because directly tayo dapat nagko-coordinate. So
Yes.
we are also seeking guidance on how we can better serve the industry. That's
Yes.
my point, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much po.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you so much.
In conjunction with what the doctor's saying now, I would just like to comment. I'm also a member of the Asian Hyperbaric Medical Society. But I suppose to answer, while I'm with PCSSD, hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a medical modality of treatment, not only for divers, but also for chronic difficult wounds. So that's why SPMC is a training facility, not only for the treatment of training facility, treating not only divers, but also the treatment of chronic wounds and difficult wounds, right? And trauma, for example.
Yes, sir. So, just for the information of everyone, hyperbaric facility, AGE and DCS is just one of the indications. Now, there are already 15 approved indications. And in the SPMC hyperbarics, we are treating all those 15 indications.
So
Okay.
beyond diving.
Yes, it's beyond diving.
We have a question from Sir in the green shirt.
Mayong-
Thank you so much.
Mayong hapon. I'd like to ask a question about
Yes, sir.
the one you showed us earlier. And one question for Doctor. The first question is about the pacer. I was involved in 2 incidents looking for missing diver underwater. Would that work underwater?
No,
Or
sir.
it's-
So underwater, the only one that is currently working now, they're actually here, Garmin. I haven't tried it myself, but they have a buoy that talks to the transmitter, the Garmin transmitter. So this device can only track and locate divers once they have reached the surface and turned it on, because it's based on radio waves. The Garmin uses the technology of the transmitter. I'm also doing research and asking them what's the proximity. Because what the Garmin has is they call it an S1 buoy. They deploy it at the back of the boat. And if you have a Garmin computer talking to the transmitter, it's the transmitter sending signals to the buoy so that the surface unit can track the location of the divers. So that's also another option.
Okay, I just want to share about the experience we had. Perhaps for reference, in terms of upgrading technology. The one diver, a friend, we were able to recover him the day after, more than 200 feet below. I don't know if the technology of Garmin can reach that depth. Anyway, I'm just saying, so perhaps you can address that at some other time. Doc, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I experienced nitrogen narcosis long time ago. We dove more than 100 feet. My question is, what are some of the things that we need to be aware of after the dive when we're out of the water?
In regards to nitrogen narcosis.
Yeah, is there something, obviously you're up and about, you feel that there's nothing wrong anymore when you're out of the water, you've gone home.
So,
I'd like to know medically if there's something more that we need to know.
Okay. So, medically, okay. Let's put into the pharmacology of nitrogen. So, nitrogen, when it is dissolved in our brain, acts like a depressant. Okay? So, depressant. And when you have nitrogen narcosis, basically, you are, well, it's like drinking alcoholic drinks. Okay? Dizziness, there's a euphoria, okay? You tend to be dizzy, loss of balance, okay? Those things are always, parang manifestation of nitrogen narcosis. So basically, it's like the feeling is like, well, drinking a bottle of gin.
Yeah, actually, my question is the one after when you're already out of the water. But having said that, I'd like to share to you my experience. We're actually I was in a dive with a group of divers. There's what you call a sweeper, the last diver who would look after all the rest. And I was there left behind, and he was trying to count, and then he missed one. So he looked back, and he saw me. I was just kind of floating. And then he came back to me, tapped me, "Are you okay?" And then I was able to rejoin the group. So basically, what you described is basically what happened to me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We have a question from Sir in the black shirt.
Good afternoon, Jeff Ramos, SPMC, Hyperbarics. I'd like to, I'm actually very happy to hear about the comment from our PCSSD Commissioner in regards to the rules, guidelines in hyperbaric facility. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, as far as I know, there is no regulating body in the hyperbaric industry. Number one, we don't, as far as I know, we don't know if which certification are we following. Are we following the US certification? Are we using the CE of Europe? Are we using the Australian certification? We don't have any. I think it's about time for us to establish one. Number two, the practice of doctors, it has to be regulated because doctors now are doing mostly off-label indication, which doesn't do anything, unfortunately, but it's proliferating everywhere. SPMC Hyperbaric Medicine is a training facility at the moment. We're the only one in Davao, in the Philippines, as well as in the Southeast Asia. We have a fellowship program, and it's the first in Southeast Asia. The other day, Singapore called us if they can do their training with us, but with the constraint of time, we'll not be able to accommodate that. But again, going back to the practice of hyperbarics, doctors must have a standard of practice. That's why we created our society. The nurses must be trained according to the standards of the established society, either it's Australia, America, Europe, whatever. It has to be at par with those, as well as our technicians. So if you are from America, you have CHT, CHS. If you are in Australia, they have their own, and EBAS in Europe. I think it's about time also to update our nurses and technicians to be trained, because otherwise, if you know, hyperbarics is a fire-risk environment. We don't even have, if you look at our manual and BFP, we don't have a section that talks about fire in the hyperbaric environment. We don't have any. So at SPMC, we revert back to the National Fire Protection Agency of the American standards and Australia. So if you look into their standards, it's a thick standards, it's NFPA 99, Chapter 16. We have to follow that if you want to establish a credible hyperbaric facility, a safe, credible hyperbaric facility. If you notice, there's a lot of mishaps all over the world. The recent one was last January in Americas. A little boy was toasted inside a chamber. It's in America. They have regulating body. It can happen to us because it's a fire-risk environment. Imagine inside a chamber, we are breathing air. As you know, it's just air. But inside the chamber, the partial pressure of your oxygen is doubled and a half. That's a fire-risk environment. So, again, I'm very thankful that it was mentioned by the PCSSD because it's about time for us to make it safe, create a guideline, and establish the practice of doctors, nurses, technicians at par to the other practitioners. At SPMC, we benchmark our management with the Americans and the Australian because we are a part of their fellowship program. It's the only one in Southeast Asia. So we present our cases to them as well. We have unique cases, not only in diving, but with the clinical hyperbarics. Clinical meaning to say the approved indication, not for beauty, not for anti-aging, nothing about that. We don't cater that, unfortunately. No? We do trauma care, we do trauma for broken limbs and so on and so forth. So that is, I'm very glad it was mentioned. And for nitrogen narcosis, my co-buddy here, attorney, we were dive buddies before. As you know, if anyone who has tried to venture a little bit deeper at maybe 80 to 100 feet, maybe more, then you will feel some, I would say, slugginess of your decision making. It's just like if there's a snake underneath your seats, like, oh, there's a snake. That is pretty much what nitrogen narcosis is. It's very good to experience that inside the chamber as well. But again, it's a nitrogen narcosis. It does go away when you go up to a less shallower level and having a beer. Maybe that's a different nitrogen narcosis. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your insights. We have Doc Ponce and also Mr. Aglugub to share final 2 insights.
Just a quick follow-up to what Dr. Jeff has mentioned. I'd like to congratulate the Davao Divers because you have the best hyperbaric facility and the best diving physician in the Philippines. We are now a destination for fellowship training for hyperbaric specialization outside of the U.S., the first outside of the U.S. Now, we are following strictly the standards of Undersea and Hyperbaric Medical Society, which is U.S., following also the Australian and the UK and Europe standards. Now, as far as I'm concerned, from the Divers Alert Network's perspective or support, don't delay any symptoms that has relationship to diving. Anything na may symptoms na nag-dive, kagaling kang dive, always call your EMS or 911. Maswerte na naman kayo, may 911 kayo dito. Sa ibang pinupuntahan ko, walang ganun. May mga local numbers, magulo. Okay? So when I do seminars about EAP, I localize. I discuss it. First question, what is your Coast Guard number here? What is your emergency LGU emergency number? So I teach them how to localize their AAP because they keep on calling somewhere else, they delay the treatment. Number 3 that I would like to follow up is, it's only here, I am a triage nurse for Dan in the Philippines. Whenever a call is diverted to me because the call center in US, Europe, or Australia doesn't know the local geographic location of the doctors and the facilities and the air ambulance, they call me. So I contact them. Since I can immediately decide that that is a real emergency, type 2, may type 3 na nga eh, a combination. Immediately, we dispatch an air ambulance. Your facility here has a local air ambulance managed directly by SPMC. So therefore, ganito kasi kami, go to the emergency room first before chamber. Because chamber is just a tools for treatment, whereas emergency room is a diagnostic and interventionist. Nandun ka agad. Eh paano kung stroke talaga o heart attack? Doon lang ikaw pwedeng gamutin. Eh paano kung dumiretso ka sa chamber, heart attack pala, hindi ka magagamot doon. Okay? So, when I think of an emergency and a chamber, the chamber here are manned by emergency doctors. So, isa na lang ang pupuntahan mo. Emergency doctor yan. Emergency doctor si Dr. Ramos, pero specialized diving physician sila. So, they will do 2 jobs. 1 bullet, 2 birds. Kaya nga. So, yun ang palagi kong ine-emphasize whenever Coron, malimit, magpa-airlift ako niyan, pa Manila.
Pag alam ko ng type 1 lang, kaya sa Manila, freestanding chamber lang, meaning a chamber that is not within a hospital. Pero hindi ko pinapadiretso sa chamber. Emergency room muna. Like just last week, mayroon kaming ginamot. Cardinal Santos, naka-confine muna. Pinuntahan ng diving physician. So teamwork na sila. Then sabi, okay, stabilize nyo muna, then tomorrow we schedule for hyperbaric by ambulance. May escort na doktor. So palipat-lipat. Pero dito, hindi ka na magpalipat-lipat ng ambulance. Diyan lang sa loob ng hospital yung chamber na may sarili pang emergency care center. Okay, so that is a follow-up to Dr. Ramos. At nagsisimula na tayong makilala ng Amerika because of that. Just recently, they realized na capable pala ng ICU setup ang loob ng chamber ng SPMC. Sa ibang chamber, hindi nila kaya yon. I personally can say that because I tender. Sumasama ako sa loob sa pasyente. Okay? Yes, you have a question, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Aglugo, for your additional insights. I think very uplifting, no? Yes, and we have one more.
From Dorso, I have one question for each, no? For technology and for Dan World, I'm interested in the new technology of the full face mask. It will benefit our researchers, marine research and installers. And for Dan World, it's really the safety of our marine researchers and reef installers. So as a government agency, we're constrained with costs. So any idea on the cost associated, no? Because I really wanted it. For the emergency, Mati is already 2 hours away from Davao, and if it's really associated with DCS and already packaged with emergency and hyperbaric, would you recommend nga mo diretso nami sa SPMC or moagi pa mi sa DOPH? Thank you.
Okay. Now, going to DOPH, sir, it will also, well, they are not hyperbaric capable. That will, well, they are capable of doing the emergency interventions, but it will also delay the treatment to hyperbarics. Okay? Yes.
Yes.
So about the question on the full face mask, in the olden days, diabetic people cannot dive. But nowadays, may mga research na ginawa, type 1, ano ba insulin type 1? Yung mga oral, like nagtatablet lang, may strict rules na pinapalo. Gawa rin yan ng UHMS at didistribute sa mga diving agencies. Yung type 1, yun ang talagang wag, pag insulin na. But anyway, in progress yung work ko with a full face mask, which is ideal for diabetic divers because the most serious problem is drowning due to loss of consciousness, sudden loss of consciousness underwater. And if you spit your regulator, you will drown. Pero kung full face mask ka, okay, mag-loss consciousness ka, nakita ka ng kabady mo, you can be brought out without drowning. Alright? Now, that is a specialty, distinctive specialty that I am developing. Hopefully, PADI will accept that and allow me to teach that. Pero, in conjunction with the manufacturer of full face mask, wala pang gustong mag-sponsor. Yun ang iniintay ko, mag-sponsor.
Ayun. Hindi ko rin decision yung sponsorship. Pero, what I can do, sir, is I can bring it up to them. Because these companies are, of course, aside from selling their product, these are specialized tools. And these tools, if it would benefit very good objective of rehabilitation, of course, they would take that into consideration. So I'll give you my number later on, and we can draft a letter. I'll help you out on that. And I cannot commit anything, but I would see what I can do about it.
Maraming salamat.
Membership
Yes.
muna sa Dan World.
Sa Dan World naman, ang membership is just you enroll as a member and you avail of, depende, may 3 level eh. Yung 1 level for local coverage, annual local coverage, that's $85 US dollar.
for 1 year. That's for 1 year. And the coverage is up to $126,000 ang benefit mo doon. So hindi mo kayang ubusin yun. Kahit makasampu ka pang chamber treatment. Okay? The second and third are global in coverage. So $120 yung master, yung preferred, mas higher benefit is $150. So, $250,000 ang coverage mo doon sa isa. Sa $200, yung $200,000 ang coverage mo doon sa lower bracket. So, magkano lang yun versus and one treatment in the chamber ranging somewhere between 50,000 to 120,000 pesos. Roughly, somewhere there. Okay? So, yung mga naka-experience na, alam nyo yung sinasabi ko. Because since I become done here, I've been triaging, I've been responding to this, and the most common question is, Sir, wala kaming perang ganyan eh. Yan. Sabi ko, next time, pag gumaling kayo, get your protection. And what is that protection? Dive insurance from any diving insurance. I'm not selling DAN, but you can buy any diving insurance. However, with DAN, we help. Even if you are not our member, you call us, we will help, except money. But if you are a member, we will help everything, find the best doctor, the best facility, the best air ambulance, plus money, we will pay everything. Okay? So, para na rin ako nagbenta ng DAN. Ano?
Thank you very much. Tulungan kita magbenta, mabilis lang. Actually, yung insurance is something that we don't look at as an important thing until we need it. And what you're paying for with the insurance is also the service and support. So imagine you have a hotline that you can call, si Romir 24/7. Although si Romir is kind enough to entertain kahit na hindi ka DAN member. Yun nga lang, magbabayad ka with, siya hindi naniningil, yung papuntahan mo. So it's nice to have that insurance in hindsight. Ma-appreciate mo yun pag nandiyan na yung emergency. Ngayon, namamahalan ka. Pero pag kailangan mo na, yun.
I'd like my researchers covered, no? So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Maraming salamat sa mga nagtanong at nag-share ng insights. And of course, to our panelists, palakpakan po natin sila. And now we proceed to the awarding of our certificates of appreciation for our speakers, Mr. Aglugog, Mr. Gohunko, and of course, Dr. Olmuguez. We'd like to request RD Tanya Rabatan to help us with the awarding of certificates. I am sure you have all gained so much value from our session this afternoon. Maya-maya, we will be celebrating this coming together and a meeting of minds with our dinner and socials. Huwag pong kakalimutan to still join us later on. You can also explore our booths outside dito sa foyer before we head over to the Vanda restaurant. Palakpakan po nating muli ang ating mga experts on multiple topics to help us make the most out of our diving experience. Now, following this, we are honored to welcome Dr. Alfred Medina, Commissioner for the Private Sector at Philippine Commission on Scuba Sports Diving, to deliver the closing message from the Davao Dive community. Dr. Medina will share some of his reflections on today's discussions and the way forward for diving, conservation, and community safety in our region. Atong pakpakan, Dr. Medina.
Good afternoon. Wala na masyado akong ma-reflect kasi napag-usapan ng mabuti, no? But we've heard about diving opportunities, our responsibility as divers vis-a-vis our environment. Kung pangit ang environment, what's the use of diving, no? So it works both ways, our responsibilities. And we've also had our share with technology. Pero okay na rin siguro kung meron tayong sausage. Kung wala tayong, labas lang natin sausage natin, pwede na rin yun. Okay? Tapos, insurance. E.D. Marco was saying about insurance, maybe should we require it or not? It's something that we will have to discuss and, of course, share to the stakeholders, the divers themselves. And of course, the more important, which is, what? And the more important, which is the emergency and health concerns, kasi it becomes more personal to us pag napunta na tayo sa kamay ni doktor. Sana yung si doktor? We don't want that to happen. I guess the message is this, no? Nothing will, walang kapalit, I should say. Walang kapalit ang proper training sa diving, both in scuba and in free diving. They have their own science. So, and there are safety regulations for this, and that's why PCSSD is coming at par with you na kailangan, if we follow these regulations, walang mangyayari sa atin most probably. Things are more in our control rather than out of control. And we are also thanking the DOT, especially because DOT is been really punching everything to promote scuba diving and free diving in the Philippines. But I guess ang take-home message ko as a Davaoeño is this, I just came from Manila with other stakeholders discussing about the economics of scuba and free diving. And tayo na lang siguro mga local divers, because diving is also a tourism industry, It's a tourist sport, tourist recreational sport. Para sa ating mga divers dito sa region, let's support our local dive shops. Let's dive more. And we hope to have a closer collaboration with the LGUs, not making it so difficult for us to dive. We'll have a closer collaboration with the Philippine Coast Guards and to our mahal nating mga bangkeros na yung presyo hindi masyado magtaas. Kasi kung hindi tayo mag-collaborate sa kanila, wala, mingaw ang diving. So, yun lang ang take-home message ko. So, nothing can exchange for a better training as a scuba diver. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Commissioner Dr. Fred Medina. Indeed, this afternoon has been insightful for many of us. Maya-maya po, we will still have dinner, raffle, and socials. We'd of course like for you to make sure to explore our booths outside. Nandun po ang Davao Oriental State University, ang kanilang clay, 3D printed na mga ways to help our ocean. Of course, nandun din ang commitment wall natin. Garmin is also outside. And of course, please make sure to mingle with everyone you're interested in learning from today. And of course, we'd also like to share that as we gather and celebrate to share knowledge and connect with fellow diving enthusiasts, we remain mindful of the ongoing global situation. We kindly ask everyone to exercise discretion when posting photos or updates from today's socials, so we can continue to honor both this special occasion and, of course, the wider context around us. Ladies and gentlemen, the formal part of our program has concluded. Explore po tayo sa foyer at maya-maya ay magkikita po tayo sa Vanda Restaurant. Make sure to mingle, take pictures. You can take pictures sa ating stage dito. Sign up sa ating commitment wall and enjoy the rest of our evening together. Maraming salamat and see you again later.